Wendy Bell Radio was live.
Hey. Hi, everybody. How you doing? Hello. Good afternoon. It is good to be with you. How's everybody doing? Oh, Spar. That's awesome. I'm glad American Mom has done well. You guys are looking good out there. What's going on? All right, so we're going to start with 1.25 thousand rumbles today. And I'm going to kindly ask anybody who hasn't already hit the follow button to please do so. We fell short of our goal yesterday, which means we're going to try to pile it on today. We need like 130 people, I think. Hi, Murtak, raiding the stream. What's going on, doll? Good to be with you. Glad to be here, guys. So we have a packed schedule today, but there's not a lot of news. It's very interesting. Anybody out there? What's the big story? Let's see if you guys have picked up on the big story, because I don't know if there is one. What'd you say, Brock?
There is a news suck again.
It's another weird vortex. It's very peculiar, but once you feel it, you feel it. All right, I want to do something right now. I want to do something for the wellness company, Brock. I hope I haven't thrown you off. Probably have here. So the wellness company has something that I want to talk about. Losing weight, it's not just about eating less and working out. Obviously, it's how your body and your brain work together and get those signals to you. The wellness company has created something called the unique terzepatide. It's B6 and B12 combo. This is something that's huge for me because I don't either make or process vitamin B at all. And it has huge effects on you. It could have effects on your tongue. Have you ever had like that graphic tongue where it's super sore, or you get those white spots on your skin? It's weird. Instead of tanning, it's like you get little droplets of just white skin. It's bizarre. All this stuff is connected to that B vitamin. It's a daily weight support solution designed to work with your body's natural regulatory systems. And it's called terzepatide. Terzepatide helps influence the signals that control appetite, satiation. So when you're like, woo, I'm full, and metabolic optimization. And research shows it can reduce cravings, lower the desire to overeat, and even change how your brain responds to bad fats and high sugar foods. So instead of weekly injections, this is an option from the wellness company. Everybody's got one, and there are benefits to each. So why not check it out? twc.health/Wendy. Use my code Wendy. You're going to get 10% off and free shipping in the United States. Sorry, just for the United States only, the free shipping part. But twc.health/Wendy. This is called terzepatide. And it's literally just the way it sounds, but it's their weight loss, not shot offering. There you go. Okay. But we're delighted when the wellness company comes back because I do kind of love them. They're special. What's going on, everybody? Does anybody know what the big story is today?
I don't even think it's a big. It's taken so long for 2020 election stuff to come out, and
they're running out the clock, babe.
That's
the strategy on the left. Run out the clock, get past the statute of whatever.
And if that's not reason enough to say, hey, it's time we pass the SAVE Act, and nothing's going on. I didn't get ahead today.
tulipblooms.shop/Wendy. Best thing you'll buy today is this velour massaging oil. Look, I don't get massages. I don't really give massages. I don't need massaging oil, but my skin needs it and loves it. A squirt.
Have you put it on your feet yet?
Just a hit. Absolutely. Put socks on. And then, like 15 minutes, 20 minutes before bed, put this on. tulipblooms.shop/Wendy. Promo code Wendy. I think it's just Wendy.
I think it's just Wendy.
Extra 10% off. Go to the soothe button. Drop it down. Do yourself a favor. Get this for you. Not for anybody else. Get it for you. Rub it in your dry skin, dry cracked hands, dry calloused cracked feet. Let it absorb. Takes like 5 minutes. I'm telling you what. It's a winter survival guide from heaven. tulipblooms.shop/Wendy. Because what we're going to want to do is put together a care package, probably for Mother's Day. Come up with something special. Some of the things that I like the most for Mother's Day. And we could actually do one for Father's Day too, because they have that many wonderful products. I just want you today to pay attention to this. All right? Velour massaging oil. Get it, shipped to your house, take a hit.
It's good for dudes too.
After 5 minutes, it's not greasy anymore. You're not going to greasify your world, but you have lasting moisture. It is off the grid. Tulip Blooms with an S.shop/Wendy. I love you guys. All right, slow start on the draw here, 2,300. Let's get going. You know what we have not had since we've switched over really is any kind of Rumble love. They've not been boosting us. They haven't put us anywhere. And you know what? Because of you, we've never not made the leaderboard. Knock on wood. God love you. Thank you. Rumble and follow. I appreciate you guys. Thank you so much.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Welcome to your daily dose of facts to fight off the liberal gaslighting.
You can be in the middle of a hurricane.
You have sanctuary in the city of Chicago.
Or you can be on a calm day. North is still north. You could be in a thunderstorm.
I am angry. We are not going back. Not ever.
North is still north. People can yell at you.
The hell with the Supreme Court. We will defy them.
North is still north. It doesn't change fundamental things. And in this business, right is still right, even if you stand by yourself.
We don't get fooled again. No.
Live across the fruited plain and from sea to shining sea, we're converting the Marxist left 1 hour at a time on the Wendy Bell radio program.
Well, hello, America. Greetings to all of you across the beautiful fruited plain. I hope you can tell that when I talk to you, I'm smiling, especially at this very beginning phase of the program, because I am so excited to spend 3 hours with you. Because if you feel like I feel, this whole thing that we're doing feels very comfortable. It feels reasonable and necessary that common sense conservatives share the values that make America great. And we have a president who's trying to make it greater than ever, and we're going to talk about it. WendyBellRadio.com is how you can join in. We have been a very unusual program in that it's a radio show, but we live stream all 3 hours. And so if you want to watch the commercial breaks, all of it, you are welcome to do so by getting that WendyBellRadio.com onto your device. Hey, I'm glad you're here. Hang out for a while. Delighted to be with you. Welcome home. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Amen. You know, I want to dedicate this monologue, and I will tell you, I have no idea where it's going because I'm drawing a blank right now. I want to dedicate it to everybody out there who is a whistleblower, everybody out there who does what you heard Clarence Thomas talking about in the open. It is my favorite thing, I believe, that a public figure has said. No matter what the world is doing around you, North is still North. No matter if they throw rockets at your face or what, North is still North. No matter how they try to gun for you and shut you down and abolish you from society, North is still North. And it is that philosophy, it is that mentality that is going to save this country. We're at this really weird, delicate place right now. And it's eyes on the Capitol, right? Where you have a Senate Majority Leader in John Thune, who Mark Wayne Mullen, who's been tapped by the president to take over for Kristi Noem as the Secretary of Homeland Security. Mark Wayne Mullen says John Thune is a good guy. He's a friend of his. So I don't understand, what is the disconnect going on at the Senate? Does John Thune not understand that people who say we want the SAVE Act? Does he not understand that when polls suggest 83%, when you put all of us together in one giant melting pot, 83% want freaking voter ID? Does John Thune not understand? Is he not listening? Is he not paying attention? Or does he not care? That is the great conundrum of the day, and we're going to dive into that. But before we do, I mean, I want to just for a moment speak about the speed with which, in this first year of this presidency, this president has changed not just America, but the world. He has absolutely single-handedly, with peace through strength, and the work that he did to lay the foundation of where we are today in his first term. This president has completely transformed not only the reputation of America vis-a-vis her military on the world stage and told basically everybody, yeah, I'm not so sure you want to do that. I'm not so sure you want to scramble any jets or launch any missiles against anybody that's affiliated with this great country, because we will find you and we will kill you. Game over, lights out. Ladies and gentlemen, it's not even been 3 weeks in Iran. We're not talking about forever wars. We're not talking about the machine of munitions or the bloodshed on the field. This president in 1 year has completely changed the game. He's changed how the cards are dealt, who gets what, and on a whim and to his desires, he decides what is the trump card, pun intended. I want to think, though, for a minute, as the media do everything they can to diminish the remarkable speed with which America is roaring back. Can we all just go back in time and remember what they tried to give us in Joe Biden? They tried to tell us that President Trump, who was wildly successful despite all of the impeachment attempts and all of the nonsense and mumbo jumbo, including January 6th, which was their Hail Mary, right, was one of the most successful presidents of our lifetimes, if not the. And that if they hadn't allowed the fossil Joe Biden to be cheated for as prolifically and as absurdly in your face that they did, we wouldn't be going through this. One could argue that more than 1 million people in Europe would still be alive, because Vladimir Putin would not have gone into Ukraine, and that whole nonsense wouldn't have happened. One could argue that October 7th would not have happened had Donald Trump been president. One could further argue, right, that all of those Americans who were taken hostage would be alive today, and that the young men and women who just went to a music festival, who ended up getting mowed down and assassinated, would be with their families today looking forward to spring. They gave us Joe Biden, a corrupt man who was obviously in advanced phases of decline. And when they lied to us and told us that he won, despite all of our spidey senses and just good old-fashioned common sense, they hid him from us. They weekend at Bernie'd him, got him juiced up on whatever it was he needed to be vertical for the requisite time to at least look as though he was doing one of something. They made all the decisions through an auto pen. And they took him and put him on vacation here and there and trotted him out every now and again when it was necessary. He wasn't available to the media. He didn't take their phone calls. He didn't take their questions. They were scripted, predetermined, and he needed cheat sheets to remember people, important people, including Hillary Clinton. And they told you that, no, he's in charge. No, gas prices are going up because that's the cost of converting to this green climate garbage. Doesn't it feel good to get bent over every time you fill up, to know that you're probably not doing anything to save the earth? They started fiddling with our kids in schools and pushing this just bizarre ideology that nobody with even the basic rudimentary forms of common sense would agree to. And then when you try to stand up, the whistleblowers, the individuals who said North is still North, even if you stand by yourself, the people who got taken down, the people who were excommunicated, who were put on trial, found guilty, and thrown away, people whose Wikipedia profiles are complete farcical fabrications, so that the real story, that they stole an election, installed a shell of a human being through which a puppet government created and run by Barack Obama and his insidious group of weirdos, could further accelerate the demise of the United States, make us weaker, make the military worry about transgender nonsense, demean the values of this country, tear down statues, go after American history, apologize for American exceptionalism. Every single thing they did, was wrong. But some people stood up. And they said something, and they did something, and they said, not on my watch. And many of them paid a price. That is what is required of each of us. It is no longer sufficient for you to hide behind your computer. It's not fair anymore for you to say somebody else will take care of it, or as I'm sure there's somebody out there who's working on this very thing. No, see, making America great again means you have a job. You have a role. I don't care how old you are. I don't care how well you are. I don't care where you live. You have a job. And the moment is now. Get involved. Flood the phones. Call the Capitol. Flood John Thune. Do what needs to be done. Push back on the fake news. Demand honesty. Or for heaven's sakes, turn it off and never pay attention to it again. But see, you're invited to this grand celebration, this thing called the Golden Age. But there is a price of admission. It's not going to cost you money. It's already cost you enough. But you need to help get this thing across the finish line. We must have our elections back. We must have America back. And it starts now. When we come back on the Wendy Bell radio program, let's listen to this audio soundbite of the Senate Majority Leader. I want you to hear what he says. I want you to think about how you feel. Or all these people who want voter identification, who want the freaking elections once and for all to be trustworthy. Are we just some fringe ecosystem? Because John Thune thinks so. Next on the Wendy Bell Radio Network. All right, my beautiful people. Wow, numbers super down today. Not even 4,000 out live right now. What the bejabbers? But you know what? It's not quantity, it's quality. And your quality right now, 1.38 rumbles. If we get back 175, you are golden. That is the golden age, my friends. All right, so speaking of gold, Texas Bullion Exchange, they are waiting for your phone call. You know, there are a lot of podcasters out there, and a lot of us have gold sponsors. I have like gold teachers. They're better than sponsors. They want to educate you. They want to be a part of your family, not for like now or next Thursday, but next year and 10 years from now, your kids, when they want to get involved in precious metals investing, they're here for the long haul. And that's why they send you a picture of who they are and their own families. Because they're just like you are, trying to do what's best for their families, making the best decisions they can, and investing in gold and silver, platinum, and palladium is just common sense. You can't have all your eggs in the stock market. Got to have some diversification. Got to have some protection. 855-927-5557. This is our bat line. That's the bat phone. It rings there, and they're like, "Bring." Okay, I know exactly who that is. It's a Wendy Bell radio listener, and they're ready to be serious about investing in precious metals. Don't have money in the bank. It's terrible. Terrible place for it. They're just using it and giving it to other people anywho, right? And you're getting your 1% of nothing. 855-927-5557, wendylovesgold.com. Ba-ba-da-da. All right, we're inching ever closer to 4,000. 4,000 viewers right now. Kind of slow, but that's okay. But I agree with Brock. There's a disturbance in the force. I'm worried about the sleeper cell thing that we talked about.
Yeah, the whole New
yesterday.
York City thing.
Yeah. What exactly happened there? So Zohran Mamdani was celebrating Ramadan or something like that and besmirching Jews.
It all started with someone taking a cooked pig to the.
Is that Jake Lang?
Yes.
God, jackass.
To the mayor's.
What are you doing? Trying to get clicks? Go home.
And then they
get a job.
They started throwing IEDs.
That sounds friendly.
Yeah.
That's a good time.
Filled with nuts and bolts.
Oh, great. Kind of like a Tsarnaev brothers.
Yeah.
Boston Marathon.
They wanted it to be, the rumor is they wanted it to be bigger than that, but they were radicalized online.
Are they from Bucks County, Pennsylvania?
Well, there's people tied.
But they've never met each other. We don't know anything about each other. Right. Just don't make no sense. Do it. No. Well, welcome back to the Wendy Bell Radio program. A delight to be with you. Okay, so out of touch and nearly out of time. I'm trying to figure out why John Thune is, I don't know, somebody that the president preferred in that position as the Senate Majority Leader. I don't get it. I don't know if he's just clueless or if he's deep state through and through. I mean, his F Liberty score would submit that. John Thune, I don't think, has actively come out against the president, but I also don't see him as a staunch defender as someone like a Ken Paxton would be. So this is what got my, unease in a bunch overnight. Thune chalks up MAGA pressure on the Save America Act to a paid influencer ecosystem. This is from the Washington Examiner. Curious. Senate Majority Leader John Thune downplayed the conservative backlash he is facing over the Save America Act, chalking it up to a paid influencer ecosystem that is amplifying calls for its passage. Yeah, John, Earth to John. Come in, John. Are you there? Tune in Tokyo. I don't know. Where are you? This is not a paid influencer ecosystem because we're not the jackasses outside paid to be there with some dumb sign on the street corner. And then at 5 o'clock, we quickly break down and head home. See you later, Earl. All right, Sheila, I'll catch you tomorrow. Right? No. See, we want this passed because we don't trust our elections. Because 2020 was stolen, 2022 was fiddled with, and so is 2024. And now the FBI has its eyes on freaking Maricopa County, Arizona. Damn right they should. It's like 750,000 ballots. We're like, yeah, about those. Really? Thune cast fresh doubt Monday that the Senate had the votes to pass the GOP voting bill as conservative pundits and a chorus of social media personalities have been demanding for more than a month. Okay, that's accurate. We've been saying that. The pressure campaign has moved several Senate Republicans to support the bill, even if it means burning weeks of floor time under a talking filibuster. Make them freaking earn it. Yet Thune told reporters there was enough resistance to that approach that he cannot guarantee an outcome, even as he promises to hold a Senate vote. Having studied it, he said, researching it pretty thoroughly, right. You have to show me how, in the end, it prevails and succeeds. Because I think what's been promised out there, that it would actually, in the end, get an outcome, well, I find it very hard to see that based on actual past experience. Yeah, that's the problem, John. That's what we're asking for, sweet lumps. See, that's what Make America Great Again is. That's what Drain the Swamp was all about. You with it? You with it? Because it doesn't feel like you're with it. Here's the president talking about the SAVE Act. He's like, look, I don't know what ego chamber y'all are living in, but everywhere I go out in the world, out in the United States, because I'm hearing the same thing. Mr. President, how about we pass the SAVE Act, huh?
I don't think you can politically exist if you're not going to do voter ID and these things. I don't think the people in this country will stand for it. So I'm making my biggest plea tonight. It'll make you, and I'm not doing it for this reason at all. It'll guarantee the midterms. It'll guarantee the midterms. If you don't get it, big trouble, my opinion. If you get this, your midterms, and they know it. For two reasons. Number one, they won't be able to cheat. And number two, the people are demanding it. Every time I go out, Save America, sir, Save America Act. We want the Save America Act, sir. That's all they talk about. They don't talk about housing. They don't talk about anything. That's what they talk about. And if you send it up that you're going to win the midterms at levels that you can't even believe, and you're going to win every election for a long time until somebody screws things up, and hopefully that won't happen. But I've never been more confident that if we keep these promises and deliver on this popular agenda, the American people will stand with us in overwhelming numbers, just as they did in 2024.
I do not know if the television networks took that. There was President Trump addressing this Republican retreat at his club in Doral near Miami. But C-SPAN was on it like white on rice. Must see television right there. C-SPAN is, the president saying what it is. Look, if we can't guarantee who people are, that they say they are, who they are, we don't have fair elections that people can depend on. Period. Well, John Thune has previously called the outside push to pass the Save America Act, which, as everybody knows, requires voter ID and proof of citizenship to register to vote. Like, this isn't complicated. We're not asking for your firstborn. You don't have to give any plasma. We're not asking for your ova. We're asking you to do what is right. And it is right to force people to show who the hell they are. John Thune, right? I don't know. It's kind of a fringe ecosystem demanding this. Either you're so out of the loop, or you're a deep state goon. Either way, I have zero patience. I want you to hear this. This is Brian Stile, Wisconsin representative. I think that's how you say his last name. And he's like, look, we're over here in the House. We've passed this thing multiple times. Like, we've tweaked it and we've passed it. And it's like, what's going on over in the Senate? What the hell is your hang up over there? It's well said.
A lot of us in the House of Representatives are frustrated. We're not seeing this legislation move across the desk and across the floor to be signed into law because it's being blocked in the United States Senate. It's frustrating to me, and I think it's frustrating to so many Americans. I think it's exactly correct. The president needs to be firm in the negotiations with the Senate to get this across the line. The Save America Act is currently drafted is incredibly common sense. It's saying you need to show photo identification when you go to vote, and you need to be a U.S. citizen when you do go and vote.
And so now that call to action that I alluded to in the monologue is to be more like the Canada truckers, more like the Dutch farmers. We need to actually show the heck up and demand. This doesn't happen with just a tacit phone tree. We gotta nail this. When we come back on the Wendy Bell radio program, the president will accept nothing but unconditional surrender, and we are way ahead of schedule. Could this be a 4-week war in Iran? Next on the Wendy Bell Radio Network. Super excited to share with you, and you guys are going to get the links. Hopefully, Brock, were you able to get that email of mine where I was talking about the links for all of the things that I'm doing?
Yep, it's at the top of the.
All right. I really wanted to share with you this thing that I'm doing because it's kind of 4-pronged. And I tried this. I put on, I'll say 6 or 7 pounds, and that's a lot of weight to me. That's nothing that I take lightly. And so last week I was like, look, I'm going to start eating well. I'm not going to eat anything past 7. I'm not going to drink any alcohol. I'm going to do what I normally do exercise-wise and make really good vegetables and lean protein decisions for meals. And at the end of the week, I had lost 4 pounds. right? And part of that is not being starved to death. And that is why I love some of these products. Look, I'm going to talk first. I first take my Blood Flow 7, but I want to, this is a key part of it. You need to have something that you look forward to drinking, and putting a scoop of Dr. Gundry's MCT Wellness in your thermos or your hydro flask or whatever, and shaking it up, adding some ice cubes. Not only is it delicious and it gets you to drink more water than you normally do, it absolutely crushes your cravings. And it allows you to settle your mind so that you're not ravaged by the thought of eating Pringles. Okay, that's me. Pringles, pretzels, like whatever. For Brock, maybe it's cookies and cupcakes, right? You're not going to want it when you're drinking this. And all of these links are below the video box. So go there and watch the video that Dr. Gundry puts out. It is worthwhile, and attached to it is a discount for you. This is not expensive. Everything here that I'm telling you to do is like less than $1 a month. Maybe it's $1 a month per product. It is not a big lift. This is a big one. You can get it by going to thehealthyfat.com/Wendy. I drink it every day at this time, and I really don't eat until about 4:30, 5 o'clock at night. This is the other thing. I will share this with everybody every single day of my life. Bloodflow7.com/Wendy. I'm just telling you, 2 capsules every day. Again, this is like $30 for a month. 2 capsules every single day at the same time every single day when you wake up does not make your tummy upset or anything, right? And you will have more stamina, more drive, more energy, more endurance. And you'll say to yourself, what the hell happened to me? And then at night, you sleep like a freaking rock because you're not yawning through the day. Bloodflow7.com/Wendy. Step number 1, MCT Wellness, thehealthyfat.com/Wendy. Step number 2. Hey, I'm telling you, if you do this, at a minimum, you'll lose 5 pounds in a week. Period. It's nice to have friends like that, right? And you don't have to do it all the time, but when you're feeling a little squish, and be like, all right, let's bring it down a little bit. 4,300. We're limping along. Let's see how you guys are doing. 1.7 rumbles. Thank you. That is a very good showing for so few people vis-a-vis what we've normally had. So if you're new, welcome. We're in a commercial break, so hit the follow button. Love having you hit the follow button. And hit the thumbs up button. That's the Rumble button that lets us know you like what we're doing. All right. Let's see. Okay. And I will say, I also put something else in here, and we'll talk about Native Path and the collagen peptides. Collagen peptides, I had no idea how great taking collagen is for your bone density, your skin, your hair, your nails, your digestion, everything. And I started researching it because it happens. I don't think so much with men, but definitely women start getting that crepey skin right here. It's like all of a sudden the texture of your skin gets super like translucent and thin. And the collagen peptides are a really great defense of that. So I'm super jazzed to be drinking it. We'll talk about it next. Brock, how are you?
I'm good. It must be the same for men and women.
Is it?
Yeah, because remember, the Democrats can't tell the difference. So we must be exactly the same.
Well, then there's that. I
Yeah.
do appreciate your perspective on
Thank you.
Thank you for your attention
To this matter.
to this matter, Brock. I do appreciate that. What's going on in the world? Anybody talking about anything? It's very curious to notice the lack of news. You know, it's like nobody remembers how to enterprise news anymore, to go outside and sniff around and be like, what's going on over here?
The amount of fraud in America, if it's the Somalians and it's the Medicare fraud, it's the voter fraud, it's you sit here and wonder,
how much money could I have if all these D-bags hadn't stolen it? It's like parents who are like, Joe and I did this the other night with Michael. How much do you think we've spent just on Michael? Just having Michael.
over $1 million. Well, you say the average is $1 million.
And he's spoiled, so.
Right. He's it's like Murphy,
It's like
Steak
Murphy. I
and-
can't wait how you're going to cover that.
Steak and Dr. Marty's.
Oh,
and,
right.
I mean, he's a 1%er dog.
Wow. He's been getting some shrimp.
Grooming and
Grooming? What do you mean grooming?
I just hose my dog off.
I pay for your grooming. Someone who is tired of a narrative that is contrary to the truth. What is the greatest way for that individual to slice through that and share with the people what he or she wants them to know? Well, obviously, you have to cut out the media. Or you let them have your cell phone number and let them call you, and then you take their phone calls. And it's like, what? So we started yesterday with Jonathan Carl, ABC News. He's like, look, I've covered 5 presidents, and never have you been able to call the president of the United States on a Friday afternoon at like 3, talk about war, talk about a cabinet switch that he's currently making, and have them send you the press release before it hits Truth Social, right? And spend 20 minutes on the phone with you answering your questions. Like, it doesn't happen, right? President Trump is doing this with more people, and we're going to hear more from this conversation that he had yesterday with Weizhu Zhang over at CBS. But this is a very interesting tack by this president, right? I'm going to tell you exactly what we're going to do. To the degree that it's not going to compromise a mission. It's always going to be mission first, mission focused, and the mission's always to make America great again. And I'll answer your questions to the best of my ability, and I'll tell you exactly what's going on. And what's going on is we're making very quick work of Iran. And in this whole bubble of attacking terrorists, attacking the booga booga booga, the idea of danger, that's exactly what this president is taking out. Who do you have paying attention? You have Russia paying attention. They've always kind of been the specter of like, ooh, bad Russia. And China, right? China, number one enemy, I believe, of America is China. And now all of the things that you thought you knew about China are getting blown apart. Like, what do you think you know about China? Well, they have a gazillion people, right? Yeah, they do. And what have you seen their military doing? All of them look alike, train alike, walk alike, march alike, sort of like, the Nazis. They all kind of walk alike, do the same thing, right? And so you're like, ooh, that's a well-oiled military machine. I don't know if I'd want to go up against that. And then, for a parade, they'll trot out the thing and there's a huge missile on the back of it. And everyone's like, oh, wow. Well, then there's Donald Trump and the Israelis bombing the everlasting liver out of very specific areas in Iran. And everybody's like, oh, didn't the Chinese give Iran their missile defense system? Well, that got pulverized in a hot second, right? So all of this President Trump is doing while also answering phone calls from the media and not just brushing them off like, I'm busy, I can't take this, right? Calling them the way he called Scott Adams, right? There's that personal touch as he blows you out of oblivion, right? So he's cutting through the media noise to tell the American people at this Republican conference at his property in Doral, Florida, what's going on with this Operation Epic Fury. And they're not looking good for Iran. So here is Fox News and Martha McCallum talking about Trump taking these phone calls from reporters and telling CBS, look, the conflict in Iran's pretty well over. That's breaking news. To be gifted that on a silver platter by the president of the United States as a horny reporter looking to get anything out there to beat everybody else, this is like, here's Martha McCallum.
I'll be watching. The president's going to hold a news conference just a short time from now. It's going to get started at 5:30 from Doral, Florida this evening. In the meantime, he has done some phone interviews with several outlets, most recently talking to CBS News' White House reporter, I should say. And in that interview with Weizhu Zhang, he said, I think the war is very complete, pretty much. They have no Navy, no communications. they've got no Air Force. He added that the U.S. is, quote, very far ahead of the initial 4 to 5 week estimated time frame.
Well, that means time is of the essence if you're on the left, if you're part of the deep state propaganda machine. Well, shoot, we got to get everybody out there thinking that Trump's a dictator. Trump's a king, right? We've got to have bloodshed. You got to have something to run against. Not success, not swift victory, not lethal force, not American exceptionalism. Like, this isn't working. So Trump said repeatedly yesterday that Operation Epic Fury, his military campaign in Iraq, is a short-term excursion. And the president hosting these Republican lawmakers at his private club in Doral, Florida, for the House GOP's policy retreat on Monday, right? He's policy retreating and getting calls from Wei Zhang, right? Okay, and that's just in 20 minutes. So he goes on and he's like, look, I think we've had the best first year of any president. We took a little excursion because we felt we had to get rid of some evil. And I think you're going to see it's going to be a short-term excursion. In my first term, we rebuilt the military. And I don't know if I'd be using so much in my second term, but we have a military like no one else has. It's not even close. We're the strongest military anywhere on earth. And now everyone understands it. Don't gloss right by that. And now everyone understands that. What do you guys think the 250th anniversary is going to be? It's going to be a bash unlike anything you've seen. It's for the world to see. It's American exceptionalism. It is making America great again. So in Doral, on the war in Iran being over, the president was basically like, look, we've taken them out. Everything they have, we've pretty much sunk or we've blown up. And so that's kind of it. Listen.
Thank you, Mr. President. On Iran, you called it an excursion. You said it would be over soon. Are you thinking this week it will be over?
No,
Are you talking
but soon.
about days?
I think soon.
Okay, and with respect
Very
to...
soon. Look, everything they have is gone, including their leadership. In fact, there are 2 levels of leadership, and even actually, as it turns out, more than that. But 2 levels of leadership are gone. Most people have never even heard about the leaders that they're talking about. So it's obviously been very, very powerful, very effective.
And then he says, I don't know when they cry uncle, but they should have cried uncle 2 days ago, right? We've already won in many ways, but we haven't won enough. We will go forward, more determined than ever, to achieve ultimate victory that will end this long-running danger once and for all. Look, we're going to do like what doctors do when they scoop out cancer. They make sure they get all of it. So there's not like a little figment that's going to grow back. That's what this is going to be. He says, look, this operation is nearly complete. In fact, we got a few things that are on the agenda today. They are pretty prolific drone makers. And about that, we've got some ideas about that. Here's President Trump, audio 2.
And some people could say they're pretty well complete. We've wiped every single force in Iran out very completely. Most of Iran's naval power has been sunk. It's on the bottom of the sea. It's almost 50 ships. I was just notified it's 51 ships. I didn't know they had that many. Didn't last very long. And these are fighting vessels. They're meant to fight, but they're not meant to fight against us. We continue to target Iran's drone and missile capabilities. Their drones are way down. Their drone manufacturing's been hit starting today. We know all of the places they manufacture the drones, and they're being hit one after another. Their missile capability is down to about 10%, maybe less. We're also hitting where they make missiles and where they deliver missiles. We've struck over 5,000 targets to date, some of them very major targets. And we've left some of the most important targets for later in case we need to do it.
Okay, so now this is not what a king says. This is not what a dictator says. See, what makes us different than the enemy is that we don't strike at civilian targets. We try not to go after the infrastructure that is an absolute bitch to try to put back together. We don't do that. We understand that there is collateral damage, and as we're trying to limit that to the degree that we can, We don't want to blow up your water pipelines. We don't want to blow up your gas lines. We don't want to blow up stuff that you don't have the skills, and you're not going to have the equipment to rebuild, and therefore your entire section of the planet will be null and void. We can. I don't want to, but we can. That's what he's saying to the world. He's saying this to the Taliban. He's saying this to the Houthis. He's saying it to Hezbollah. He's saying it to Hamas. He's saying it to anybody in the world that fancies themselves an America hater. Just watch. Audio soundbite number 3 on leaving those targets alone for now.
If we hit them, it's going to take many years for them to be rebuilt, having to do with electricity production and many other things. So we're not looking to do that if we don't have to. But they're the kind of things that are very easy to hit, but very devastating if they are hit. We are waiting to see what happens before we hit them. We could take them all out in one day, but it's all resulting in a 90% decline in various things, but in particular, Iranian missile launchers and 83% drop in drone launchers. As you know, the drone launchers are pretty well shot, but we're at over 90% decline in the Iranian missile launchers, which is very hard to reproduce and very hard to get. And usually what we were able to do through great equipment, a lot of smart people, as soon as they sent a missile up from a launcher, we were able to knock out that launcher within a period of 5 minutes or less.
So somewhere in there, the president managed to squeeze in a little bit of golf and the media went haywire. And I was like, well, that's interesting because at this point in Joe Biden's presidency, he was cashing checks from China, Ukraine, Kazakhstan, and Russia. But other than that, right? Well, here's Charles Payne, Fox Business, and he's on with Jesse Waters. And Jesse's saying, you know what? So all this stuff with Iran, oil prices, is the world responding to this war? Are the markets, or are they responding to the war or to the oil? Charles Payne says something very special embedded in this. I wanted you to hear it.
So the market was wild today. I mean, it was just absolutely all over the place. Is the market looking at the military aspect of this, or are they looking at the energy aspect? Where's the smart money?
The market's looking at the energy aspect of it because the energy aspect of it, if it lingers, then it slows consumer spending. You slow consumer spending, you slow the GDP. You know, we're on the cusp of a major economic boom this year. The signs are already there from factory orders, manufacturing data, service data, and of course the refunds that you talked about at the opening of the show. So, you know, we don't want anything necessarily to hamstring that, right? We don't want any speed bumps as we're taking off. But listen, President Trump knows the mission is the mission. And the folks who don't want him to win in the media, the financial media, the mainstream media, they'll make anything the talking point. Wow, it lasted more than 7 days. You know what? It's going to last however long it lasts, but we are winning decisively.
And what did he say that I thought was so interesting? We're on the cusp of a major economic boom here. The signs are already there from factory orders, manufacturing data. We are winning decisively. So let me ask you, why would the president promise death, fire, and fury yesterday? Sounds so positive. I'll tell you to whom he issued that threat on the flip side of this break on the Wendy Bell Radio Network. So I had no idea that collagen peptides, in addition to doing so many other things that are phenomenal for our bodies, is also a great weight regulator, which is wild. There's so many ways that you can get just a little TLC with some of the things that you decide to eat or drink supplementation wise that can really benefit you. And so every day while I'm drinking my healthy fat from Dr. Gundry, which was what he lost 70 pounds drinking, that's this stuff, right? In this, which I put in here, is I put one of these from Native Path. GetNative.com/Wendy. GetNative.com/Wendy. Collagen is amazing. These 10-gram hydrolyzed collagen peptides to maintain healthy bones, joints, hair, skin, and nails. I did not know that there are 28 different types of collagen in the body, but you will only find type 1 and type 3 collagen peptides in these packets. These two types make up over 90% of the collagen found in your body. So it's crucial to maintain those levels so that you can feel good on the inside and out. This is one of those things that you're just foolish if you're not taking collagen peptides. It's just one of those flavorless, scentless, easy things. It dissolves in coffee, water, juice. Dr. Gundry's the healthy fat. And this is one of those things that is going to assist you if you're joining me on this journey to lose a handful of pounds. And this is something that we can do every single week, is we could carve down so that we can have fun on the weekends. Right? A little sacrifice, a little strategy, and you'll lose some weight and feel so much better. And you wake up feeling so much better. I can tell you it actually matters. So getnative.com, getnativepath.com / let me make sure. I don't want to getnativepath.com / Wendy. You're going to get a nice little discount on that. None of these things is expensive. I think a jar of this that would last you 6 weeks, I think with our promo code's like $31. None of these things is, I believe, over $40. None of them. So taking charge, ladies and gentlemen, of our health together. Brock, you're so quiet. Makes me a little nervous.
Sorry.
It's a little nerve-wracking.
I'm just trying to see if anything's breaking it.
It's very odd.
The John Thune.
Very odd.
People were going
nutty.
bonkers over.
Yeah. Right. And so I'm trying to figure it out. Like, so on the one hand, Mark Wayne Mullins says he's a good guy. Thune. Trump says he works.
I don't care if he's I don't care if he's a good guy. That's what they don't understand about Trump voters.
I kind of mean it like he.
I don't have to agree with everything you do, but this is what the people want. You know, like.
I agree. And I think it's been abundantly clear. I don't think this is a huge mystery. Like, well, I don't know what we should do. Welcome back to the Wendy Bell radio program. You know, I'm so grateful that last week, middle of last week, we played that really great video explaining the parameters and the importance of the Strait of Hormuz, right? And this is that narrow 20-mile or so passageway from which a lot of the Middle Eastern oil flows. This is where China gets its oil. Russia would get some of its oil. Yada, yada. This is where it goes through. 20% of the world's supply goes through there. And Iran was like, look, if you guys are going to bomb us, Israel and America, we're going to take revenge and we're going to knock out ships, oil tankers that are trying to cross through the strait. Well, I'm not so sure they're going to be able to do that because their military has been completely destroyed. Their ships and battleships, et cetera, 51 different vessels now gone, sitting at the bottom of the ocean. You got 2 tiers of leadership that have been decimated because they didn't think that Trump was crafty and strategic. They thought he would strike at night, and he struck during breakfast and knocked out 50 of them, and then struck again and knocked out the remaining 30, right? Well, President Trump has said, you know what? I promise death, fire, and fury if Iran should interfere at all with the oil transportation along the Strait of Hormuz. And this is what he said. President Trump has issued a warning to the Islamic Republic of Iran, stating that death, fire, and fury will rain upon the Persian state should they interfere with the transportation of oil through the Strait, a vital sea trade route. And this is what he truths out. He's like, look, if Iran does anything that stops the flow of oil within the Strait of Hormuz, they will be hit by the United States of America 20 times harder, all caps, than they have been hit thus far. Additionally, we will take out easily destroyable targets that will make it virtually impossible for Iran to ever be built back as a nation again. Death, fire, and fury will rain upon them. But I hope and pray that it does not happen. That's a wild pivot, right? But, we're going to kill you and everything that you love. But maybe not. Maybe not. But isn't that the game of the ultimate card holder? You have everybody dancing on strings, not knowing if you are a crazy person, a volatile, crazy person who's like, blah, just hit the button. Or if you're just a far better strategist than they. Well, so Trump then said later on, as there was some skepticism, nobody wanted to grow a pair of huevos and take their whatever gallons of crude oil across the strait if perhaps Iran was going to get fussy. And then Iran was like, no, show me some guts. So show some guts. President says Iran's navy is finished, and he urges ships to sail through the Strait of Hormuz. Donald Trump is conducting international relations. He is handling the flow of oil, however, thousands of miles away. He's got the battleships in position. He's got another one on its way, just for good measure, right? If you want to fiddle, if you want to FA, I guarantee you will find out. The blunt message from the commander-in-chief came as global energy markets reacted to the ongoing conflict between the United States, Israel, and Iran. Oil prices exploded over 17% on Sunday, blasting past the $100 per barrel mark for the first time since the early days of Trump's decisive strikes against the Iranian regime. In a bold Truth Social post this evening, Trump dismissed the short-term pain as a necessary step towards crushing the Iranian nuclear threat once and for all. This is what he wrote. Short-term oil prices, which will drop rapidly when the destruction of the Iran nuclear threat is over, is a very small price to pay for USA and world safety and peace. And then in all caps, he writes, only fools would think differently, which is a curious foreshadowing of what you're about to hear in hour number 2. Look, if you've tried everything, right? You've tried everything except the kitchen sink. You've tried assassination. You've tried impeachment. You've tried indictments. You've trotted out troglodytes who said that Donald Trump banged them. Right? You're making all of these wild allegations and assertions. Well, he's a racist. Now he's a king. Oh, now he's a this. It's so preposterous, right? Well, you're going to hear how the last-ditch Hail Mary of a news cycle yesterday crashed and burned as the president said so. Short-term oil prices, which will drop rapidly when the destruction of the Iran nuclear threat is over, is a very small price to pay for the USA and world safety and peace. Only fools would think differently. Well, who are the fools, do you think? I got them lined up for you. Let's start with CNN, literally crestfallen that it's not $27 a gallon for gas out there. Next on the Wendy Bell Radio Network. Good time to tell you guys about disinfectwithsniper.com. Always a good time to talk about disinfectwithsniper.com. So I was at the gym today, and the gals who own the gym and do their training, two women married with two great children. They're just the sweetest and wonderful people. And they have a new dog who ended up urinating on the floor. And so the one rushes over and she's like, "Oh, Rosie, you shouldn't be doing that." This is just a little muncher of a puppy. So she's learning. But anyway, so they're wiping it up and I'm like, disinfectwithsniper.com. And it's like, come again? And I was like, no, I'm sure whatever fabulosity is in your clear water bottle that you're spraying to clean up whatever is great, but it's not Sniper. Disinfectwithsniper.com. What's disinfectwithsniper.com? Well, it's a hospital grade disinfectant that is about the best thing you'll ever have in your life.
And safe around your puppy.
Safe around your pup. So when she squirts on unexpectedly, you can wipe it up and sanitize the area. In no time, you can wipe up the urine and spray Sniper on the spot, and it'll take care of any bacteria, anything, any odor. It's just the most versatile, fabulous thing. Literally, you could go underneath your sink and take out 80% of the jazz that you currently have because it's not as effective as Sniper. Disinfectwithsniper.com is how you find it. You are welcome. All right, let's see how you guys are doing because I did not browbeat yesterday. 2.08. Somewhat impressive. We're limping up to 5,000 people watching. Right? But I'm delighted that you guys are here. Okay. I want to tell you guys about my experience with GhostBed, and I will say it was kind of a weird, opportune time because GhostBed advertises through Rumble, and they saw this channel and they saw your interactions and your just what you do every day. And so they got in touch with me, unbeknownst to me that there is one mattress in my house that I need to replace. And it's a full size. I told you it was my son's Michael's from college that he stuffed into the back of his Ford Explorer. And I'm sure got it all fudged up. And it's always been terrible. And we've never gotten a new one. I'm like, well, I will just go online and probably buy something. So GhostBed was like, no. Let us do this for you. Tell us a little bit about how you sleep. Do you sleep hot? Michael is a hot sleeper. He doesn't like being hot. I'm like, well, we need something that's cooling. We like it that's firm, so you're not bowed. You can belly sleep if you want, but it's got a little cushion, a little fluff to it. So it's kind of cuddly as it supports you. And they're like, we got it. They have this like state-of-the-art line that's like, whatever, made in outer space. And then there's this one that's more of a hybrid. And it's fascinating. It comes to your house and it's rolled up and it opens up, and give it 24 to 48 hours to get truly its full zhuzh, and it fluffs up and it settles down, and all of a sudden it's firm and it's wonderful, but plush and comfortable. And it's like now everybody wants to fight over who gets to sleep on it. So it's like the foot massager. I have to beat Bobby away from the foot massager so I can get a hit. So that's GhostBed. Ghostbed.com/Wendy. Lowest prices of the season. They throw in an extra discount when you use my name. 101 nights. Try it for 101 nights. Who's giving you that? And they'll handle it if you don't like it. If you're like, I really don't think so. Return it. No problem. Get your money back. That's a phenomenal offer. So ghostbed.com/Wendy. I can only tell you about our experience. You might like a harder or a softer mattress. Super easy to pick. Super easy to pick. And this is like their care instructions. This comes in it. They're like, here you go. There's your new mattress. That's how you care for it. Okay. And it doesn't break the bank. So look, I know it's been 15 years since you've gotten a mattress. Bite the bullet. Ghostbed.com. I think you'll really be impressed. /Wendy.
Might have to get Bobby a foot massager for graduation.
He would take it to school.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
He would totally take it to school. I kind of have to go to the bathroom. Wait. So what's going on there? How are you guys? Hello. Whoa. I just popped myself up.
I think it's smart that Trump is taking over the oil shipping, because he's making friends with more so than already with all the with all the countries over there because.
Would you put me back full screen? I'm just trying to fiddle this.
Sorry.
Perfect. Thank you. No, I think that's a good point.
Because that's he's saving
their bread
their
and
economy.
butter. Hey, they need to get their stuff where they need it to go. But he's like, look, if you're not going to cooperate with this idea that it's peace through strength, then like he's offering everybody an olive branch. Brock found this great article about how Russia is going back to the dollar, basically going back to the American way of buying stuff. They were trying to go around us. Was it Russia? Yes, it's Russia.
Yeah.
And
China.
And explains why and what that means. And there is more than an olive branch.
China's screwed.
There's more than an olive branch between Trump and Putin and Trump. And it's very interesting. Very interesting. I think.
I'm pretty sure he just lifted sanctions on their oil too.
Right. And think about the leverage that he has. It's really quite extraordinary. Joe Biden couldn't even get his freaking beach chair across the sand. Right?
Wow. Sandy, my girl Sandy is tweeting out oil is now down $11 at $84 a barrel, and Dow has reversed course and is up 230 points.
Meanwhile, you've got Scott Bessent monitoring stuff. You're right. You've got, I trust these guys. You want people who are billionaires managing the world's money, don't you?
They know how money works.
I want to know. I'm the idiot who puts some, money under the mattresses and like, that's a good place for it. No, that's why I'm like, go buy gold. Buy gold. Buy it now.
That's
silver. Well, you know what I mean.
I wouldn't be able to tell.
Why is that?
My mattress wouldn't be lumpy.
Wendy Bell, inspiring solutions to save America, one show at a time. Are you ready to get on board?
You told us when it could be time to panic. Well, is it time to panic? Well, let me just tell you, folks, it's never going to be time to panic because we're never going to give up. We're not going to give up on America. America's worth it. America is worth fighting for. America's worth not giving up. And while we have that attitude of not giving up, we are constantly going to be searching, strategizing, coming up with ways to prevail. We've got the basics. We have millions and millions of Americans that are fed up, can't wait to do something about it. There will be a series of ideas that people come up with based on dealing with the fraud that we know we have to deal with. You're not alone. You're not a singular individual all by yourself out there trying to fight these people by yourself. There are 74 million plus and growing. We're not going to give up on America.
From sea to shining sea, 3 hours of bold truth and excellence. The Wendy Bell Radio Program.
Welcome back. Hour number 2 of the Wendy Bell Radio Program is live. You know, if it's not one thing, it's another. And if the media can't stick the landing fast enough to smear or in some way, I don't know, harm whatever the president is doing, then they're kind of in a scramble. And we're in this weird vortex of news right now, which kind of makes me uneasy. We talk about this commonly, and it seems like it's almost like that calm before something hits. And you're like, wow, it's a little quiet. There's not even a whisper of a breeze. What's brewing? Well, the media wanted you to believe it was gas prices. In their eyes, the greatest thing that would happen is if one of these tankers, and one did after Trump said, look, get off your duff. Don't be a willow. Get your freaking tanker through the Strait of Hormuz. We're watching it. We've got your back. Get it done. And the first one did. The media and the deep state would love nothing more than for something to happen to said tanker, for all of the oil to create some climate, whatever, catastrophe, and to be this giant mess, have gas prices go through the roof so that you got screwed. All of the play always costs you. Do you ever notice that? All of the things they try to push always ends up costing us. Now, remember the Strategic Petroleum Reserve? So this is an area along the Gulf Coast, and that's why it's susceptible to weather and what have you. But these are these giant underground, I don't even know how you describe them, reservoirs of oil. And like any good president, when the cost or the trading value of oil is low, you try to fill up as much as you can, right? But I remember back in Joe Biden's term, item number one, after he allegedly took the oath of office, was to shut down the Keystone XL pipeline. No, we're not going to do that anymore. And then Joe Biden gave all of our oil to China. Isn't that how it worked? Isn't that wild? And then he had to go beg all of the other countries in the Middle East and like fist bump people and beg for oil. And it's like, I don't understand what's so complicated here. We were pumping it out just fine because they need to screw you. So when Trump took office, Biden had sold off much of the Strategic Petroleum Reserve to China, leaving the reserve at about 395 million barrels. Since then, this is according to something I'm seeing online, God knows if it's true or not. Since then, Trump has been quietly filling it to about 415 million barrels. When he left office the first time, it was at 638.1 million barrels, and Congress had stopped him from filling it all the way to 727 million, which he wanted to do because the cost was down to $20 a freaking barrel. It was a really good time. I remember we had his energy secretary on. I'm like, Secretary Bruyette, isn't it all about filling up as much as possible? And he's like, yeah, this president wants oil tankers. He wants a bunch of vessels all over the United States filled to the gills with oil. We want as much as we can to stockpile forever. And Congress are like, oh, outrageous. Right. I'd go up against a freaking billionaire. Businessman. The deep state tries to play the gas prices game, but they lost after about 8 hours. Because just like the president said, look, there's going to be some uptick in prices. It is what it is. I'm sorry about it, but deal with it. We've got other contingencies. It's going to come back down. We're almost done nuking their nuclear ambitions. And once that happens, you'll see it. And then what happened? Like 8 hours later, the price dropped $30 a gallon or $30 a barrel. Let's listen in. Larry Kudlow saying, you know what? The gas price story popped up for a hot second today, but I trust this president. He's earned our trust. His moves have been smart, and they continue to be. This is great news.
A temporary blip in gasoline prices, a very small price to pay to achieve literally world-shattering results. Mr. Trump is bending the arc of history toward freedom and prosperity. And if you're looking for economic impact estimates, you know, they're a dime a dozen. I wouldn't put much confidence in any of them right now. Inflation, recession, stagflation, whatever. I suppose it all depends on the duration of the war, which is unknowable, but it's not going to be 6 months or 12 months or longer. Therefore, why bother to even guesstimate?
100%. And this is where the gas price hysteria fell flat. Over at CNN, they're like, oh my gosh, gas prices are up over $100 or crude oil prices are up over $100 a barrel. And then they're like, oh, yeah. Oh, they're back down again. Oops. Here's the CNN fail. Listen.
It's been a little bit of positive movement in the markets after the president told CBS that the war is pretty much complete. What's the latest?
Yeah, oil prices hitting their lowest level of the day after crashing through that $100 a barrel benchmark overnight, even reaching up to $115, $120 a barrel. Those are numbers that we haven't seen for nearly 4 years since the war between Russia and Ukraine broke out. But even though these levels have come down to about $85, $90 a barrel, still 30% higher than they were just a month ago. Markets obviously move very quickly, but what isn't moving so quickly for Americans, at least today, is that price of gas. People are showing up at the pump and realizing that gas is costing about 50 cents more on average than it did just a week ago, and 40 cents more than it did a year ago when President Trump was newly in office.
Oh my gosh, I'd be really worried about that, wouldn't you guys? Super worried about that? Oh, I don't know. Gas prices went up $1.11 a gallon. Fun fact, during his 4 years. So I don't want to hear about 50 cents up and then down. I'm willing to pay a little bit more for whatever it takes to blow Iran and their nuclear ambition and the wackadoodle Ayatollah Supreme wacky people out of the water. Period. CNN continues. Tankers, however, aren't moving in the Strait of Hormuz. Panic! Gas prices could hit $4 a gallon.
Of course, oil prices can change. They could go back up again, especially because so much of the world's oil, 20%, is really locked at a standstill at that Strait of Hormuz, where 20% of the oil moves through, as oil tankers are simply stuck there, unable to move oil. The U.S. does have a good supply of oil. However, oil trades on a global market, and that's why you're seeing nerves. That's why you're seeing oil prices rise, and that's why you're seeing gas prices rise. According to Gas Buddy, we could see another 10 to 20 cent rise, and we could and will likely reach $4 a gallon here in the United States.
They are so desperate for you to bend over and take it somehow, man, so they can be like, oh, we're tapped in on you. We understand what it's like. Oh, yes, vote for us. Yeah, gas prices could go up. And by the Strait, about 30 seconds after she started saying that first vessel went through, and now everybody's going through, and crude is moving just fine. Thank you very much. The sound of the day, if I had to give an award, it is to Larry Kudlow. And in fact, I cut his soundbite in half, and we played the last half of it for you first. I want you to hear the beginning, because this is so perfect. He's like, look, on oil and trusting this president who has not let us down. This is it.
For those wondering about the state of play for oil prices and gasoline and stocks, here's what President Trump said this afternoon, just a few moments ago. Let me quote. I think the war is very complete, pretty much. They have no Navy, no communications. They've got no Air Force, and that the U.S. is very far ahead of its initial 4 to 5 week estimated time frame. Soon after the president's statement, oil prices fell and stocks rose. And I have faith in him and in his initial judgments, which have been superb. And I also have faith in the American people to stand behind President Trump's epic fury in order to change the course of history, completely shift the international landscape on the world's balance of power in favor of the United States, in favor of the Western democracies, of course, in favor of Israel and our friends in the Middle East. I even saw a 52% favorable Rasmussen poll on the Iranian war. As I've said before, this is like the Berlin Wall coming down, with Reagan ending Soviet communism, or FDR ending fascism in World War II, and Mr. Trump ending ISIS in the first term, and now ending the barbaric terrorist state Iran, to finally conclude Iran's 47-year forever war against the U.S.
President Trump owns the news. He owns the news cycle. He owns the stock market. He owns crude oil prices. He owns the skies. He owns everything. And they cannot stand it. Damn it. They think. If only Americans could get screwed at the pump, that would be a victory. That's a problem. When we come back on the Wendy Bell radio program, you know, where are all of the lefty women's libbers? Where are all the vagina hat wearers? Because they're not out in support of the Iranian women's soccer team, who face execution at home. What? Next on the Wendy Bell Radio Network. Right? It's crazy. All right, so Rumble Wallet. Let me tell you guys about Rumble Wallet. Look, I support Rumble. They have been actually perhaps the most consistently helpful, dependable relationship I've had as a small business owner. If things don't go right with Rumble, they fix it quickly. They try to get sponsors that I will like, that I think you will love. And they have something out, and this is by no means some pimping for me to get you to give me money. That's not what I'm doing. I just want you to know about it because it's part of their campaign. Okay. It's called Rumble Wallet. Rumble is the only company that has stood the test of time. I will concur with that. That deserves our support. On one side, Rumble is challenging big tech censorship. But on the other side, they have introduced something that will give us protection from banks shutting us off. And we know that they have done that. They have done that to President Trump and to others. Banks can cancel your account. They can freeze your cards. No warning, no rationale. And that is why Rumble launched their wallet, Rumble Wallet. It's a wallet that nobody can cancel. It's a wallet that supporters can use to instantly tip creators without any middlemen taking any cuts. With Rumble Wallet, you control your money. A bank doesn't do it. You do it. No government controls it. You do it. Not even Rumble can touch it. It is yours and only yours to protect your future and your family. All right. So it's not only a wallet to buy and save, but it also allows you to support your favorite creators by easily tipping them with the click of a button, whatever. There will be no fees when you tip my channel or others, and you can support whomever you wish by going to wallet.rumble.com. I think they obviously see a niche in the market there, especially with the word out against this president, right? Getting debanked by so many of the big banks. It's like, what the flip is going on? What happened to people? All right, let's see what y'all are up to. I have a million pages open. 5,000. Hanging tight. Good to be with you guys. Hello. 2.27. All right. So 230 people. Super, super excited to get to 2.5 thousand rumbles by the bottom of this segment. So by 1:30, if you can help out, that would be dandy. And that's just going underneath the video box and finding the thumbs up bubble and clicking it. And then going over and hitting follow. So what else is going on? Trying to pay attention to the news. Anything, Brock? It is kind of a vacuum out there, isn't it?
Yeah, it's we didn't talk about him, but I don't know if you all saw James Carville go absolutely berserk.
Mm-hmm.
It was nuts.
It's F-bombing.
Oh,
fat
I have
MFer.
TBS. I don't want it to get better.
Yeah, I want it to get worse. And you're like, all right. Wackadoodle.
Polls are coming out too for 2028 Republican primary.
Oh.
Vance 39%, Rubio 25%. Apparently, Trump asked donors, "What do you guys think?" And Rubio did really well. How can you not be happy with Marco Rubio? Maybe the biggest surprise out of everything in the Trump administration.
The time that he has spent in the Senate has also helped. Welcome back to the Wendy Bell radio program. This is just one of those stories that defies I want to talk to anybody out there who's protesting in favor of Iran, in favor of the supreme leadership, in favor of the madness and the terrorism, because you have absolutely no idea how dumb you are. I want to read you this. It's from biz.chosen, CHOSUN, biz.chosen.com. This is serious. This is what happens when you don't live in a constitutional republic, where you don't have rights, where you're not allowed to say or act as you wish. This is Iran. Iran women's soccer team may face execution threat after anthem protest. I mean, these people don't play around. This isn't like you really should have stood for the national anthem of Iran rather than not. So that makes us sad. It's firing squad, and we're going to kill your family. And I'm not exaggerating. Not executing the national anthem so they can, wait a minute. Not executing the national anthem, so they say they'll execute them by firing squad. That's the lead line here. The British media outlet The Guardian reported on the 8th Korea time that the Iranian women's soccer team, national soccer team, returning home from the Asian Cup could face safety issues during their return. Well, that's putting it mildly. After the match against the Philippines, about 200 protesters blocked the Iranian team's bus in a commotion. Protesters pounded the bus and shouted, "Send them away." Police intervened, pushed back the crowd. Confusion continued for about 15 minutes. We want to return to Iran as soon as possible, said their coach. We hope to return to our homeland and to the Iranian people, but I'm not so sure about that. The situation after the team's return home remains unclear. Some raised the possibility that the players could face investigation or punishment from the government after so doing. The reason Iranian players are under threat is simple. The women collectively refused to perform the national anthem in the Korea match as an anti-war message. Iranian state television treated the issue seriously and threatened the players, saying they could be sentenced to death by firing squad. Feeling their lives were threatened, the Iranian players saluted while singing the national anthem in the second match against Australia and the third match against the Philippines, but the players' expressions were far from good. It looked forced, kind of done to survive. This isn't a simple threat. The Iranian men's national soccer team also refused to perform the national anthem during the 2022 Qatar World Cup, and reports emerged that they could be executed. And so now you're in this weird situation where it's like, is somebody going to be granting us asylum because we need it? Well, over at CNN, they have a reporter, Christina McFarland. I guess she is in Australia reporting on this live, where 5 of the players from the women's Iranian soccer team are seeking asylum in Australia after being branded traitors for refusing to stand for their Iranian national anthem. Listen to this report.
It's interesting that we've heard from President Trump already, because we have not yet heard from the Australian Prime Minister on what is happening with these women, the fate of these women. We know, of course, that after they took that stand in not singing the national anthem, that on Iranian state TV soon after that, they were branded as traitors. They were called the pinnacle of dishonor. And since that point, pressure had been growing on the Australian government to step in to prevent these women from being taken home. And there were also questions too as to whether the women themselves would look to defect. Well, we had reporting this morning from sources close to the team that 5 of the players have actually left the team and left the team hotel and are now with the Australian police, and say they do not want to return to Iran, that they are seeking asylum. You know, Dana, this whole tournament has been so fraught for these players because we know that they have been placed under pressure. They have been monitored by members of the IRGC. In fact, it's said that one of the travelling members with this team, a man, is affiliated to the IRGC, and we had heard that they'd had their phones tapped coming into this tournament, and now many of them are facing an impossible decision, the decision to go home and to face punishment and possible death, because that is the charge for treason, or to stay and risk their families too facing the same fate. And we did hear that 3 of the 5 players who are currently with the Australian police have said to a source close to them that their families have been threatened already back in Iran. So you can understand just how dire this humanitarian situation is.
Where the hell are all the lefties? Where are all the women's livers? Where are all the people out there who believe all women, listen to all women, except when all women are facing death by firing squad if they go back? And if they don't go back to their Iran, their families could all get executed. Because that's how it goes in Iran. Because that makes freaking sense. But this president needed more of a reason to go to war with them. Got it. Okay. When we come back, let's not lose sight of how big the FBI's moves in Arizona are. This is the unraveling, not of 2020, but maybe of 2024. Next on the Wendy Bell Radio Network. I'm going to go to the bathroom. Do you have to go to the bathroom?
Not yet.
You do. You do.
Go.
I know you do.
I had thought I read later this morning that Trump has actually offered asylum to the whole team, the whole Iranian woman's team. And you hear the left talk about people being you and I are traitors to the left, right? And she's right. We're all the women libbers. Women wear hijabs while playing soccer. We're the women saying the believe all women or women's rights. But when it comes down to it, they don't care. They don't care about women's rights. They want us to give asylum to Somalians who we know will come over and they'll use them to commit fraud. But these women, nothing. Crickets. I see a lot of people say things are demonic. The left is just, they're a joke to themselves. They're a joke of a party. They're hypocrites. Everything they say and do, they'll contradict themselves faster now than a conspiracy theory. Conspiracy theories where it's a year, 6 months, now it's 2 weeks. Democrats will be hypocrites within the same sentence. They'll both sides of the fence, same sentence. All right.
I mean, like, how do you defend a government structure that believes in killing people who disagree with it? Like, I don't understand how anybody gets behind that. And offshoot religious fanaticism that is so rigid and demanding. It's scary. No. Like, the Muslim issue in this country is scary. I'm just going to say it is. It is scary. Brock's going to come in and want to hit Tulip Blooms. tulipblooms.shop/Wendy. This is one of the most phenomenal products I have ever used. You know how you get your cuticles? Look, I don't have great fingernails because whatever, I just don't care. But they're not cracking. They're not that white, dry. Bleh. Sometimes you just want a little bit of love and nourishment on your skin. I'm telling you what, this is it. tulipblooms.shop/Wendy. Drop down the tab that says soothe. And these are the cutest people. Husband and wife, 3 little kids, making this stuff in their kitchen. Outgrew their kitchen. Got an office. Outgrew the office. Needed a second office. It's like the ultimate American dream. And she's like the mastermind behind the formulations. And so it's like all this herbal stuff, most of it sourced here, medicinal, tried, tested stuff that comes from the world. And they put it in these wonderful formulations that are like, there's a couple of the products. One that's like a face serum at night, something you can put on at night that has some kind of extract that is meant to soothe you and calm you and encourage you to fall asleep. I think that's kind of neat. And then they have the opposite one for the morning, and it's got citrus in it. So that's kind of like a nice thing to wake up to and smell, that like fresh citrus scent. Telling you, Tulip Blooms. I thought you were going to come in and get a hit.
Oh, no.
Oh.
Is Tulip Blooms going to send you a candle?
I don't know. Why?
I was just curious.
I didn't ask for one. Should I?
I don't know. Might go in your box.
Oh.
I like the smell of their other stuffs. I really like the mild scent of that massage oil. I could do that.
Look,
all day.
And you can put this all over like your rings. It's not clouding up your jewelry. It's not. I put it on my opal because obviously oil is good for it, but it smells like you're in a spa. And it's that wonderful, almost like sort of eucalyptus-y.
And you almost have to put your hands to your nose to smell, which is nice.
Yeah, you wouldn't walk in here and be like, "Woo, what's that?" I'd be like, "Smell this."
Oh God! If anyone ever says "smell this," don't do it.
Smells like burnt hair and mango chutney.
That's not what I would.
Welcome back to the Wendy Bell radio program. You know, one of the things that I believe is so obvious is that the Democrats, a uniparty deep state machine. This apparatus is doing its best to stonewall, slow walk, run out the clock, right? There are only so many years that they need to hold on to certain information in elections, so many years after which an event occurs that you're able to bring charges, et cetera, et cetera. And while I think 2020 is going to come down as obviously the most corrupt, obnoxious theft of an American election that we know of, God willing, right? I believe that it's going to be subsequent elections, 22, 24, in fact, that are going to be very highly scrutinized because you've got that window of opportunity that's broader now without the limitations. This is the strategy. Do as much harm as possible and then slow walk it when you get asked for information. Pretend you didn't get the email. And then when you get the email, don't respond to it right away and be like, "Oh, it's gone into my spam. Oh, yeah, I totally forgot. Wait, you wanted me to save all of those interviews? What? I thought that bulk erasing terabytes of emails was a good idea to save space in my cache, right?" That's what they do. It's really offensive when that strategy plays out in our elections. It's unacceptable. And so we had, after 2020, so many people, look, I'm from a swing state. I live in Pennsylvania. And Allegheny County, where my community is, Pittsburgh, was one of these focal points of we're going to start counting, we're going to stop counting. We're going to stop counting, and then, all right, start counting again. Okay, stop it. Sheila, stop it. Right? Why did that happen? Why did that happen in Pennsylvania? Why did that happen in Arizona? Why did that happen in Georgia? And why did it happen at the same time, the same ways in all of these places? And then why were we never allowed to ask questions? Because, you know, the answer, they stole it and they didn't want to get caught. And everybody knows. Everybody who has half of a brainstem is aware of what's going on. So stopping widespread election fraud has to be the mission moving forward. This is where the SAFE Act is so big. This is why we're so frustrated. John Thune, get your head out of your rump. And I want you to hear on with John Solomon last night, justthenews.com. He had this guy. I don't know if it was last night, but we saw it. His name is Mark Fincham, and he is a state senator in Arizona. Look, everybody knows what happened in Arizona because they had a 10.5-hour, 11-hour public review of this investigation by the cyber ninjas. And if you go back and you try to get any information that was learned from this forensic analysis of the 2020 election, why all these ballots come in that were never folded? Why don't they have signatures? Why do we not know who these people were? Why was there no validation? Why was there no verification? Why did the Secretary of State change the rules mid-cycle? Why did all of this change under the guise of, it's COVID, stay home? Oh my God, right? We all knew this, and that doesn't change. And I want you to hear this. He's like, look, this is a big net, and they're going after some mighty big fraud here, specifically in Maricopa County, Arizona, home to Phoenix. Listen.
Every good investigation takes time. And right now, what we're seeing is a grand jury indictment that is sealed, but also a search warrant that is part of the grand jury action. So we don't want to be too premature, but I do know that it covers 2020 information up to 2024. 2022 probably is in the middle of that. So when we look at that as a bracket, almost nothing was changed from 2020 to 2024. So the systems are basically the same. The architecture is the same. And quite frankly, I'll go out on a limb and say the cheat is the same. Maricopa County Recorder Justin Heap, thank heavens he's in office, removed over 500,000 fictitious and frankly illegal, non-compliant voter registration identities. That's just been in the last year.
Let's say that again. Maricopa County's recorder has gone through the voting rolls and in the last year carved out 500,000 people in a state that Joe Biden allegedly won by what? Fewer than 100,000 votes? What was it? I hear it's 11,000 votes. It was 45,000 votes. You mean to tell me after all night long, after count, no count, after, oh my gosh, we're not finished counting. Oh, we got to get these in the the back. We just got a delivery on the loading dock. Here are more ballots. Well, wait a minute. It's been 10 days. Yeah, that's how it worked. It was so obvious. It was so brazen, and we could carve out 500,000 people right now in a year that have been voting on our voter rolls. What are we doing? And you've got, 19 states that are refusing to comply with the Department of Justice's request for the voter rolls? I'm sorry, but that's not normal. So Mark Fincham, state senator from Arizona, continues, look, none of this would be happening if Arizona Republicans hadn't demanded a public hearing on November 30th of 2020. We provided what the FBI now has in their hot little hands, which is all of the freaking evidence.
FBI investigations and grand juries have a tendency to give a little bit of latitude to the U.S. attorney to go as far as they need to identify the players in a corrupt scheme. Quite frankly, we've advocated that this has been a racketeering case for a long time. And, some folks have said, well, why didn't people step forward in 2021? My response to that is 2 words: Merrick Garland. Nobody could trust that guy because all he was about was political retribution for anybody that questioned an election. Wow, that'd be a guy like me, Senator Sonny Borelli, Representative Leo Biasucci. If we had not stepped in and had a public hearing on November 30th of 2020, where we took 10.5 hours of testimony, the Senate would not have issued subpoenas 14 days later for all the information that is now in the hands of the FBI.
You try to go back, and I plugged in. I remember the Cyber Ninjas. I remember that investigation. I remember our state senator and former gubernatorial candidate Doug Mastriano being invited by the Republican Senate in Arizona to come and see what they were doing as they were going to go over and review all of the election processes and ballots. Go into your search engine, whatever it might be, and try to pull up anything that Cyber Ninjas gleaned from their investigation, because it cost a couple $1 million, right? You can find not one single shred of a story, a newspaper clipping, any kind of a report that suggests that the results prove that there was fraud. They whitewashed it. They memory hold it. They put that somewhere. They scrubbed it from the internet. You cannot find any results from that audit. Why? Why? Because the results are so freaking damning. And the co-host, John Solomon's co-hosts, is going to ask about the ballots vis-a-vis the machines. Now, is the DOJ, the FBI, honing in on Maricopa County to look at just the ballots, or do you think the machines are going to get dragged into this as well? Listen.
But there were ballot issues in Arizona as well, and I think that was probably where a lot of these problems originated. Yeah. Do you anticipate that that's where most of this information is going to come out from, as opposed to things like the machines that did get a lot of attention?
I think that's going to be part of it. So we got signature verification, ballots that the affidavits had no signatures at all. Mm-hmm. We've got ballots that were allegedly mail-in ballots that were never folded. There's a problem. And then we've got a mismatch, a miscount on ballots. So the paper ballot count was off on the machine count. Now, granted, the claim was, oh, it's only 100 ballots. Something's very wrong with that picture. It shouldn't have been any. That's the point. So I think that we're going to see a lot of information come out.
You mean like, oh, it's only one illegal alien who's been voting in our elections. Like, stop it with your, running around pants on fire stuff. Really? You said it wasn't happening. We have a little bit of a flashback. I remember this Arizona fraud hearing. We remember this from 2021. Arizona state lawmakers pointing out an excess of nearly 750,000 mail-in ballots in Maricopa County. Like, I don't know. Does that seem like a problem to you?
Maricopa County said that they had over 923,000 ballots that were dropped off of the drop boxes. However, documentation can only account for 189,167 ballots, which means that there's a deficit of 733,000 ballots. That's right, over 733,000 ballots are unaccounted for.
The Wednesday before the Friday that we quit voting, so 10 days before they quit tabulating, they thought they were done. And then more truckloads of ballots would come in, and I'm like, how can you not know how many ballots are still out there?
Mr. Chairman, I'm sorry. Would you repeat that?
Yeah.
They thought they were done.
They thought they were done,
and then there was
times.
There was what?
Multiple times. The people that were running the rooms thought they were done or almost done or were going to be done Wednesday morning, then Thursday morning, then Friday morning. Then it went on the whole next week. And I'm like, I asked the question, I'm like, you don't know how many ballots are still left to come in?
All right, so if the mail-in ballot thing is going to get squashed, and President Trump wants in-person voting, as it should be, then you actually have to have people with pulses willing to go and vote. But if you don't have enough people to vote for you because you suck, and you've imported a bunch of people on the American person's dime to vote, well, if we don't want illegal aliens voting in our elections, it seems to make sense that one would position ICE agents outside of polling places. Wouldn't that make sense? Like, if there's nothing to hide, and you're not trying to squeeze in people to vote who shouldn't be, then this is not an issue. Oh, yeah, about that. Hakeem Jeffries is none too pleased with that idea, cheater.
Completely and totally out of control group of people. It's the reason why we are in a DHS shutdown right now, because Republicans have refused to agree to the type of bold, transformative, meaningful, and dramatic reforms we are demanding in order for the Department of Homeland Security funding bill to move forward. And I won't go through all of the demands, much of which we've talked about repeatedly in the public, but one of those demands is keep ICE out of sensitive locations. And we've defined that as schools, houses of worship, hospitals, and polling sites. We want an explicit prohibition that ICE can go nowhere near any polling sites in the United States of America. It's one of our demands. We're not going to bend on it.
So he said they're refusing the kind of bold, transformative, meaningful, and dramatic reforms we are demanding for this funding bill to move forward, for DHS to be funded, for TSA to be fully funded, so people can freaking travel in less than 5 hours to airport security. What the hell is bold and transformative and meaningful about wanting to cheat, Hakeem, you feckless turd? Sorry, I got a little fussy there. I'll get it together. When we come back on the Wendy Bell radio program, let's see how the left-wing media are telling this story about what we just talked about, because that's always fascinating. I'm sure it sounds just like what I said. Next on the Wendy Bell Radio Network. All right, so GLP-1 Gold. This is one of these products that we have from from Blood Flow 7. I know one person right now, two people right now who are taking this, okay? These are people who are interested in Ozempic, Wegovy, the shots for weight loss, but are skeptical about the lack of data and not knowing what long-term effects there are. So when I told them about Blood Flow 7 and how I feel about just that supplement, which is nitric oxide, which totally changes your world. I also told them about this GLP-1 Gold. And I want to tell you about this here. A hormone called GLP-1 plays this major role in telling your brain that you're full and helping control your appetite. But when that signal is not working well, cravings stay loud and eating more than you planned feels almost automatic. So you've probably heard about GLP-1s because of prescription weight loss drugs. Those force the signal, but there's also interest in supporting your body's natural GLP-1 response without injections or extreme measures. And that's what this is. This is where GLP-1 Gold comes in. It's a supplement designed to support natural GLP-1 pathways, but they do it not with drugs, not with pharma, not with a prescription pad, not with an expense, but with plant extracts, researched plant extracts tied to appetite regulation, metabolic signaling, and blood sugar balance. So what you get is a little extra as you're wanting to lose weight. So if you're on my mission with me, you want to lose maybe 5 to 12 pounds. Maybe you want 20. You're like, maybe I'll try that. GLP-1 Gold by bloodflow7.com. All of their products you can get by going to bloodflow7.com/Wendy or just putting in Wendy 30 and you're going to get a really significant discount. I trust this company.
Did you see what I put on the screen?
I did not. What? Oh, nice. Wombat. Thank you. Ben and GLP-1 Gold for 10 days. It definitely works. Recommend. That's what this is. And it's one of these a day. Right? One of them a day. I think it sounds fascinating. And I'm going to start taking this one. I need to learn about it, but my DNA test showed that I have 0 levels of this NAD+.
Am I going to be allowed to start drinking the
what
other thing from bloodflow7.com? The powder?
I don't know.
Because I'm out.
You are. Yes, you can. You guys have a tickle in your ear ever? I think that if I tickle my tonsil, it'll go away. I'll let you know how that's working out because right now it's not
I
swimming.
don't know
right.
how you can tickle your tonsil.
I just kind of did. I don't know. It's itchy. Bold, transformative, meaningful, and dramatic reforms. Got it.
Yeah, she probably does have an earworm.
That's a terrible thing to say. And
That was Darius who said it, not me.
And I just chunked the inside of my mouth saying that. Darius?
Wow.
About a story to do some of your own digging. And then you realize you can't find anything. It's like it doesn't exist. It's like the audit that they spent millions of dollars trying to conduct in Maricopa County in 2021, right? It gleaned nothing. Well, it had to show something. So what are the results? Now, if you try to find information and you cannot find it, and then you look at the results that your computer will populate for you, and you see that all of them are saying the same thing, you know exactly what that means. You're being played in a cover-up. What you want to find out about has been scrubbed from memory, and this alternative reality has been put there to replace it. That's the story of this audit in Maricopa County. And I wanted to read this to you. I thought we should be fair on this program. So I sourced quite a bit of news that comes from the left. This is from that online publication of Suck called Axios. And Axios apparently has a Phoenix branch. Oh, goody. So let's read all about this investigation into the 2020 election. Look, if you're trying to make it seem Like there was a reason to investigate, but nothing really usable was found. There's one way to say that. But if you go after everybody and his brother who even whispers a word of malfeasance or fraud about 2020 Maricopa County, you're clearly the problem. And they clearly are over the mark. So this is the story from Axios. This is from 5 years ago, but I want you to hear this because it's important. Feds subpoena Arizona Senate for debunked 2020 audit records. It's dripping throughout the first several paragraphs. A federal grand jury subpoenaed records from the Arizona Senate. Oh, excuse me. This is actually now. This is not from years ago. This is now talking about how the FBI is getting Maricopa County election records. Okay. A federal grand jury subpoenaed records from the Arizona Senate's debunked audit of the 2020 election in Maricopa County amid fears that the Trump administration will attempt to assert control over this year's midterms. Well, control means no cheating? Well, then, yes, that's true. Why it matters. The audit, largely funded by groups loyal to President Trump and supportive of his false claims that he won Arizona in 2020, reached erroneous and inaccurate conclusions. Well, you won't let us see what cyber ninjas discovered. So why should we believe you telling us that what they found that we can't find was erroneous? Arizona Senate President Warren Peterson wrote on X Monday morning that the Senate last week received and complied with the federal subpoena for audit records, which the FBI now has. Maricopa County hasn't received any federal subpoenas for election information. Spokesperson Jason Berry told Axios, between the lines, this is when they give you granular data. Per state law, paper ballots are destroyed 2 years after the canvass for any election for a federal office in Arizona. Yes, but the audit team made digital images of all ballots cast in Maricopa County in 2020. Well, that's a kick in the balls, isn't it? That sort of sucks. I thought we could just, that was what was on the train in East Palestine, Ohio, right? Let's light it up, Homer. Well, there's a lot of toxic material on board. Screw it. I'm sure it'll be fine. Right? Those were your ballots, proverbially. And they thought they could get, rid of them. Well, thank goodness Senate Republicans in Arizona decided to stand up and say something. Thank goodness to them, a couple of them north is still north. Even if everyone is screaming at you, even if the whole world is like, election denier, fat earther, right? You probably aren't vaccinated either. I don't have a problem with you accusing me of all sorts of stuff because the louder you accuse me and the more visceral your accusations are, the more I know I'm right over the mark, baby. And it feels good. So I think the important thing, look, that you're not going to find an accurate report out there. You're not going to get a news report unless it's Christina Bobb. Unless it was freaking Christina Bobb, who was working for whatever OAN or Real America's Voice or whatever the hell it was that she was working for, who was she was covering the front. She was on it like white on rice. She wrote a freaking book about it. What'd they do? Knives out. They indicted her. Or tried to ruin her life. What'd they do to Rudy Giuliani? Oh. They indicted him, tried to ruin his life. What'd they do to Jenna Ellis? Oh, they indicted her until she rolled and tried to ruin her life. What did they do to Sidney Powell? Oh. It's sort of like you can see what happens when you stand up and they're used to people being quiet and sitting down. Very interesting. Maricopa County, it's about to blow, ladies and gentlemen. When we come back on the Wendy Bell radio program, my heavens, hour number 3. President Trump appears to be pretty popular for a king. Do you guys see this NBC News poll? Right? If this guy's a monarch, if he's a dictator, if he's a Nazi, if he's evil, why is there only one person who polls higher popularity-wise than Donald Trump? And you'll never guess who it is. Next on the Wendy Bell Radio Network. Don't go anywhere.
Sent you a text. No, it's not going to hurt your feelings.
Oh, that's so nice of you. Simkovich Concussion Institute, ladies and gentlemen. You know, it's one of those things that you don't know that you need until you need it. And when you need it and you know you need it, it's almost too late. But it's not too late to fix a brain that has been damaged. And the hardest part that I've gleaned from hearing and watching Dr. Simkovich is that you don't see an injury like you would see a broken bone on an X-ray, or you would see a tumor on an MRI or a CT scan. It doesn't show like that in the brain because you can be damaged all the way down to the cellular level. And it's like, how do you fix that? Do you cut open the brain, like the skull? God, I hope not. No, you have to go to somebody like Dr. Charles Simkovich. So whether you're having problems with memory, or you just know that you're off, or you have chronic headaches, or you're shaking, or whatever it is, Dr. Simkovich's strategy is to immerse you in their therapy so that you are fixed as completely and as quickly as possible. That's how it goes. That's it. That's the secret sauce. You know, we're going to fix you completely, and we're going to give you your life back in less than a week. Now, you might go back for some maintenance just to get tuned up, but I would go get tuned up all the time if I could, right? If the results were as great as they are. SimkovichConcussionInstitute.com. It's in Pennsylvania. It's in Pittsburgh, but there's a reason people travel from all over the country. They book a hotel for like 5 days. They go into the protocol, get fixed, and then they go home their old selves again, right? That's kind of nice. 412-366-3700, Simkovich Concussion Institute.
There's also a multiple shots fired targeting U.S. consulate in Toronto, Canada. Nobody was injured, though.
Breaking update. Bomb squad has shut down 10 blocks near Gracie Mansion after a suspicious package was found in a nearby park. Well, was the Secret Service in on it? Do we have video of them planting it and then erasing all their text messages? Oh, I'm sorry. That was just January 6th.
How quickly has the Epstein stuff left the news?
Wow, isn't that a great topic? What happened to that? Where did Elon Musk go? Where's hating Tesla? What about the ballroom? Remember how pissed we were about the ballroom? What about the ballroom? How's that going? Oh, that's right. How about Minneapolis? What's going on in Minneapolis? That just fizzled out? Nancy Guthrie is...
Yeah, I haven't heard anything about her.
Right? What else? I don't know. Not a lot. Let me tell you guys, okay, look. What?
Nothing. I said, hey, look. I was like, whoa.
Ireland Contracting, 1-800-NEW-ROOF, IrelandContracting.com. This is the time. Get on the horn. Call Gary. Call Diane. Get one of their guys out to your house. Get some kind of a scope of work laid out. Choose your materials, whether you're putting in a new roof, you're putting in new windows, skylights, maybe adding a bay window. They can do that beautifully, right? Maybe you don't have the roof space for a skylight, so you could put in a sun tunnel. What's that? It's a way to tunnel actual light into a dark environment without putting in a window. It's fascinating. Matt Krupp from the Battlegrounds told me about it. I love it, right? What else? New siding, new soffit, new fascia, gutters and downspouts, all of the boring stuff that people don't pay attention to. Hey, maybe you want to put in a new spa. You're putting in a patio and you need some ceiling fans or some GFCI, some plugs, etc. That's Ireland Contracting, 1-800-NEW-ROOF, IrelandContracting.com.
Oh, you just asked. Tim Wells says the only reason you hear about fraud is Minnesota is because he's ending all the fraud.
You know what?
Speaking of frauds.
Yes.
Tim Walz.
You know, it's truly amazing.
There is nothing we should be talking about right now that should dominate the news every single day. Save America Act.
I can't, yes, or rumbling. I mean, we are 400 people away from 3,000 rumbles.
That's your vote.
I mean, 5,200 people ain't knocking it out of the park right now, however. Hi, 397 people over on X. I'm telling you what, these updates and things that they keep changing, it's maddening. Maddening. Somebody's asking questions, but not of me. Yeah, what happens with Pam Bondi? What's going to go on with her? Where did Kristi Noem go? She dropped off. She's gone. Who else haven't we talked? You know who hasn't been around much? Stephen Miller.
Yeah.
Where'd he go? What about that? Everything that he does. And now you heard, who was it who was going on and on? Tom Tillis. Going on and on about Stephen Miller. It's like, dude.
He has a visceral response like that nut job on the left had about Trump. James Carville.
Oh, yeah. He lost his ever-loving mind.
I mean, if he had one.
It was truly a sight to behold.
Yeah.
You're like, dude.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Wendy Bell, America's anchor mom, fighting for America 1 hour at a time. Welcome to the family. She once hosted a 3-hour show in just 15 minutes. She once intimidated the Electoral College to audit itself. Her monologues are so sharp, they're considered a concealed carry weapon. Fact-checker sites routinely issue her a retraction a week in advance. Even her commercial breaks trend on social media. Her freedom of speech has diplomatic immunity. She doesn't just drain the swamp has to ask for cab fare. Wendy Bell is the most interesting conservative woman on radio. Keep rumbling, my friends. 3 hours of bold truth and excellence. You've just signed up for the WBR Army. Strap in. This is the Wendy Bell radio program.
Welcome back. Hour number 3 of the Wendy Bell radio program is live. You know, Brock, we're gonna go through a couple things here. We were in the commercial break. One of the benefits of being part of WendyBellRadio.com is you can follow along the live commercial breaks and everything because the whole thing is video streamed. All the things, the stories that were just kind of evaporated, right? Any kind of campus protest? Is there a camp? Nothing anymore. Right? What about the ballroom? Remember how everybody was hot and bothered about that White House ballroom? Oh, what happened to that? Where's been Stephen Miller? Where's he been? Haven't heard from Stephen in a while. Or I don't know. Elon Musk? Hate Tesla? That was short-lived. Do you see how they do this? The cycle of things. And when things don't, like Nancy Guthrie, right? We're going to give you 5 weeks of something and then sort of like, man, it's not really moving the needle anymore. What about Minneapolis? What happened to all that stuff? Is it just gone? Everything's gone? You just move along? It's over with? Okay, nothing to see here. And when do you suppose they're going to do COVID? When do you suppose they're going to come out and tell you what you already know? When is anybody going to pay the price for that? When is Tony Fauci going to be put on trial and humiliated for the world to see? Because of his devilish ideas, you know what I think we should do? Because this makes perfect sense, all right? I think we take a virus and we kind of tinker with it, right? Kind of fiddle a little bit, maybe add a little special stuff to it. So it's worse. So it kills more people more easily. And then People magazine named this guy their sexiest man alive. Are you out of your ever-loving mind? Like, I feel like every single time I talk to you, I want to be like, okay, now do this. So we're looking at Maricopa County. Now do my county. Now do Allegheny County. Let's dig into all this other jazz that we've been lied to about. Trump is a dictator. People don't like him. His favorability is down. Oh my gosh. All this ridiculous military action, not talking to Congress first. I mean, he's a madman. Like, what's next? Locusts? Well, it kind of sucks when one of their own polls shows that all of that really isn't all of that. Because this new poll from NBC News, headline, at least this is how Breitbart is going to discuss it. Trump more popular than Stephen Colbert, Gavin Newsom, Kamala Harris, and AOC. I mean, no duh. I mean, would you be shocked if a poll came out and was like, this just in, breaking news. We've got the new results of an NBC News poll. It is amazing. Everybody loves Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. You'd be like, that's just the dumbest crap I've ever heard in my life. Click. Credibility lost. Well, let's look and see. I don't know why we have to be so hot and bothered over seeing what people think about this president. I think if we just let him alone and let him do his thing, right, he's going to do great. An NBC poll conducted February 27th through March 3rd that surveyed 1,000 registered voters nationally concluded that President Trump is more popular than his fiercest critics, including CBS's The Late Show host Stephen Colbert, California Governor Gavin Newsom, former Vice President Kamala Harris, and Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, all four of whom are vacuous, obnoxious lefties. I know you guys are shocked. You're like, what? Donald Trump is more popular than those morons. Who else did they put him up against? Chuck Schumer, right? President Trump's total positive rating among respondents stands at 41% compared to Colbert's 35%. Newsom, who has spent months mounting what many political experts are calling his foray into presidential politics, like, he's as bad as John Thune. Do you not pay attention to what people are saying about you? We openly mock you. We openly ridicule you. We openly say, how the hell does he have a $13 million or $9 million second home? Like, my idea of a second home is probably like Sydney's at the AAA motor registration area, getting a double wide and putting it somewhere on a flat piece of ground in North Carolina. It ain't a $9 million luxury palace. But Gavin Newsom, no. He totally thinks he should be president. He's the only one. Hey, Gav, how about we start small? Can California have its water yet? Asking for a friend. Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez's positive rating in the NBC poll is 31%. Kamala Harris's is what is she? She's looking like she's trying to bolster her own White House bid. What? You lost $1.4 billion. You bankrupted the DNC. And because what? You're a black chick? That what? It's sort of like Pete Buttigieg. He's a gay guy? Because that's all I can see. Why? What do these people do? Nothing. They have nobody. That's why they need gas prices to go up. That's why they needed a tanker in the Strait of Hormuz. To fingers crossed, oh, please, God, please, somebody bomb it. We need an ecological disaster to pin on Donald Trump. They're desperate. That's how you got a virus. That's how you got a vaccine. That's how you got all of that jazz. So let's see who's more popular than President Trump, because I'm looking at the list and there's just one dude. One dude, all right? I'm going to give you who the people are that were asked, all right? Total positive rating here. Iran. Only 8% thought of Iran positively. I don't know who they are, but okay. The Democratic Party, total positive, 30%. Total negative, 52%. Yeah, not looking good for them. Artificial intelligence didn't score very well. ICE, Immigration and Customs Enforcement, 38% popularity. Pretty good. Gavin Newsom, 27%. Kamala Harris, 34%. The Republican Party, 37%. Donald Trump, 41%. AOC, 31%. J.D. Vance, 38%. Sanctuary Cities, it's wild, 33%. Marco Rubio, 34%. Stephen Colbert, 35%. Who's the one person out there, guys, who got a 42% positive rating, which was higher than Donald Trump's 41. Pope Leo. So that is your big poll here. Brock, I know you were going to chime in here a couple times. And
I was going to say inside of the political realm, not everyone. Who do you think, is there anyone more popular than Donald Trump?
No.
Maybe Tim Burchett? Maybe?
In terms of Republican people or just in general?
In general. I mean, I'm putting you on the spot. I can't think of anyone.
Right? And so what are we told, though? That he's terrible, that Trump is gauche, he's out of his league, he has no morals, he hates everybody, he's a racist, he hates Jews, it's ridiculous. I don't know if they've ever said he hates Jews. I doubt that, because obviously his son-in-law is one and his daughter is two. And if you go into the granular data on this NBCnews.com poll, primary voters prize ideology over electability as their parties get low marks. Democrats are struggling because it's about an even split. When asked, do you want somebody who's going to win, who votes the way you vote, who shares the letter after their name? Or do you want somebody who demonstrably espouses your ideology? They are what you are. Do you want to win, or do you want to win in a nuanced fashion? Democrats are completely twisted inside out. Who do they have who's going to step in? They need a Barack Hussein Obama. They need a new shiny metal object, and it damn well better to be not some middle-aged white guy, because we've been told that's not what we want. We've had enough of that. It's time for you all to set sail and move along. We got to champion another horse in this race. Think about what the Republican Party has. The biggest issue going forward, after all of this war stuff is taken care of, is whom do you like more? J.D. Vance or Marco Rubio? Now, if Trump is successful, we do pass the SAVE Act, right? You need to show voter identification. You need to be a citizen to register. And oh yeah, we're going to be policing that to make sure. That's game over. John Thune, though, I don't know, guys. I don't know if I can get it across the finish line. I'm just not seeing it. Hey, dude. I know it's a reminder, but you work for us. See? You work for us. Well, when we come back, I just said home, my gosh. When we come back on the Wendy Bell radio program, Carl Higbee has a great 2 minutes that I think is very important. He says, look, Russia is the last piece of the puzzle to bring China to its knees. And he explains some very interesting moves there between Putin and Trump, coming up next on the Wendy Bell Radio Network. As party primaries kick off ahead of the pivotal battle for control of Congress this fall, Democrats say they're prioritizing ideological alignment instead of electability when they pick candidates. All right.
I don't think comparing in that list the Pope is even fair, because I mean, let's be honest.
What do you know about
what do you know about the Pope? If there's
doing?
1,000 people, you're going to be like the Pope, but he's got to be good.
Yeah, right.
You know, like that's why I said within the political realm, who? Tim Burchett is the only one, and you know, a third of those people are going to hate him.
You're still talking about Republicans.
Well, I'm just saying in the political realm. I'm trying to think of anyone that might be more popular.
Well, they're trying to make this guy Tallarico stick. Like they did that Graham Plattner guy, save for his Nazi tattoos.
Yeah, they just put out a poll that he'll beat Susan Collins. Right.
I want to tell you guys one of the pivotal elements of my little 5 to 12 pound weight loss experiment involves making sure that I'm focused. Look, it's not even a question after the age of 40. You start becoming forgetful. things that were easily recalled. All of a sudden, you're like, I don't know. And you begin to kind of panic. You're like, uh-oh, grandma had Alzheimer's. Is this how it begins? Well, I will tell you, and I'm getting nervous because I was more worried about ordering Brock his materials from Healthy Cell than I was getting me Healthy Cell's Focus and Recall. I take this every day. I take it 45 minutes before the show, and I will not go without it. Focus and Recall. It's just one of those things. And there are multiple formulations from Healthy Cell. Remember, the whole secret sauce from them is the micro gel delivery system. So it's very delicious. It's easy to swallow. It's not gooey or gloppy. It's tasty. And oh yeah, your supplements are getting right into your gut and not being processed by, stomach acids that are struggling to keep up. That's Healthy Cell. HealthyCell.com/Wendy. Again, this is part of it. And if you'll notice, it's part of, if you go down underneath the video box, I give you all the links to all of the ingredients that I'm using, all of the supplements. That's one of them. Healthy Cells, Focus and Recall. But look, there's also bone density, bone strength. There's the joint health and mobility, which is huge, especially if you're trying to lose a little bit of weight. Creme de la creme, wonderful product. Quality people, I trust them. HealthyCell.com/Wendy.
The question now, since he's coming up, going to Connecticut in the end of March, will Wendy get me hooked up with Carl?
Well, I don't have connections in Newsmax anymore.
Oh, you do. You were on his show multiple times.
So what? Maybe he forgot.
Maybe he'd like to have a beer with me.
Oh, you're just trying to impress your buddy and surprise your buddy.
Who? No. I told you what my thing is I wanted to give him a Second Amendment commemorative gift before we sell out. And it's I can't ship to Connecticut. Just
Second Amendment commemorative gift would be one of these.
Here we go. Think Carl would like it. And you're stopping me from
WendyBellRadio.com. Article Brock found. Financial Post.com headline, Russia memo sees return to the U.S. dollar system in a pitch made for Trump. Well, this is kind of an interesting look. And then we're going to hear a little blurb from Carl Higbie over at Newsmax, who has a great segment on this, and we extracted a blip of it. Russia's making moves. Putin is making overtures to President Trump. So here's the story. The Kremlin has set out proposals that could see Russia embrace the dollar again as part of a wide-ranging economic partnership with the Trump administration, according to an internal Russian document reviewed by Bloomberg. The high-level memo, which was drafted this year, details 7 points where, in the Kremlin's view, Russian and United States economic interests could converge following a deal to end the war in Ukraine. He's got plans. Putin has plans. Let's end the war. Let's move forward. Let's join hands. Let's work together. Let's make some money. Let's do it as a team. Well, this memo sees the two countries working together to champion fossil fuels over greener alternatives, as well as joint investments in natural gas, offshore oil, and critical raw materials, plus windfalls for U.S. companies. The proposal, which was circulated among senior Russian officials, provides previously unreported insight into Kremlin thinking and tactics at a moment when potential economic agreements between the U.S. and Russia are being negotiated as a key plank of any future peace accord for Ukraine. Again, if you don't have freaking leverage, you don't get to make deals. Donald Trump knew that in the Rose Garden. when he declared Liberation Day. Well, at the heart of the offer is Russia's return to the dollar settlement system, a move which would mean a stunning reversal of Kremlin policy and potentially a dramatic shakeup for global finance. The U.S. has already proposed gradually lifting sanctions on Russia as part of any peace agreement, a necessary first step for the country to start transacting in dollars again. But what the Kremlin memo considers would go farther and considerably further. Until now, finding alternatives to the dollar rather than restoring links to the U.S.-led system has been a key goal for Russia as President Putin sought to deepen his relationship with China. That's on the rocks. For that reason, Western government officials familiar with the contents of the document said they think it is extremely unlikely that Putin would ultimately pursue a deal that runs counter to Beijing's interests. So I want you to hear what our buddy Carl Higbee had to say. He's like, look, we should have a relationship with Russia because the whole world now sees that they are no match for the power of the American military that Trump rebuilt for this very moment. Do you see it now? Carl does.
Reason Trump is being nicer to Russia is because, and China's freaking out about this, Russia is now willing to start trading on the U.S. dollar again and not in the BRICS currency to join the global market. This would absolutely spell the end of China as we know it. Russia is the last piece of the puzzle to bring China to its knees. And we don't actually have a problem with, well, we shouldn't have a problem with Russian values. They're people. Putin's a Cold War relic. But beyond the neocons and what they want you to believe because they want to keep sending unaccountable money to Ukraine, we should actually have a relationship with Russia. Very similar values amongst the people. And Trump is willing to gamble 30 cents more at a gallon at the pump for like a few weeks to do that. Again, trust the guy. Oil is still remarkably cheaper right now than it was under Joe Biden. But here's the other side that's not entirely public yet. What's China doing right now? They already know they're not in a position to do anything militarily against us. Opponents of the Iran strike are whining that we're depleting our munition reserves. Well, not nearly as much as China's depleted theirs. This attack showed China two things. One, our military is way stronger than they thought. And two, China had put a lot of their air defenses, a lot of their resources and weaponry in Venezuela and Iran, and we took it out in a day. The smokescreen of the military might of China was decimated in the first 20 hours of this campaign.
Now, too, on one level, returning to dollar settlement would mean submitting to Washington's financial dominance all over again, and would mean reversing efforts to make the Russian economy less vulnerable to U.S. pressure. At the same time, it would hand the Trump administration a major victory in its apparent objective of weakening the relationship between Moscow and Beijing. Other details of the plan also appear designed to play into ambitions that Trump has set out in other areas. The idea that U.S. companies should be compensated for past losses in Russia echoes a demand that the U.S. president made of Venezuela, while pushing back against low-carbon technologies favored by Europe and China, right? He's saying, look, work with us. Let's get the rare earth minerals. We'll hook you guys up with oil. We'll figure it out. Use the dollar. Pay into our system. And we can be friends and live in harmony. China is not happy with this at all. You've got to hear this conversation. Coming up next on the Wendy Bell radio program, Peter Schweizer. He is the president of the Government Accountability Institute. He was on with Mark Levin last night talking about how China is in the ultimate vice grip. Don't miss it. So smart. Next on the Wendy Bell Radio Network. All right, guys, take lean, take lean, take lean. I love that we have so many options for you. There are so many ways to lose weight, and they don't involve getting things that are dangerous in your system. I love that about all of these companies, whether it's Blood Flow 7, right? Whether it's Brickhouse Nutrition, and this is their big product, takelean.com/Wendy. Or I don't even think it has a /Wendy. Take Lean. You scan it, you're going to get 20% off right now. Let me tell you about this, what they want you to know about this. 20% off with the promo code Wendy. If you're looking to lose weight, you're not interested in the speed with which sometimes the shots do it, because you don't want the skin and you don't want to look like you've got the Ozempic face. Slower, steadier, right? The tortoise wins the race, and that is what this is. Doctors created a weight loss supplement called Lean, and you can get it by going to takelean.com. They studied ingredients in Lean have been shown to do three things: to lower your blood sugar, and to burn fat by converting it into energy, and then to basically slam your appetite so you don't stuff your face all day. Sounds like a plan to me. I love it, but I like what it does with the blood sugar, right? And I think that's important. Converting fat into energy. I like that. Can I show you which fat I'd like to make energized? That's next. So takelean.com, promo code Wendy, 20% off. Love it. And a big shout out, as we always do, to our friend Kelly Morgan, who supports us so much on this program. Look, if you don't have this to do, like this gentleman who lost 100 pounds of fat in 8 months, which is freaking nutty. You can do, maybe you don't have 100 pounds of fat. Maybe you got 20. Maybe you got 20 and you're like, you know what, I really got to do something. How about this? This is after 90 days. Before, after. Look at that. She's like, oh, I sort of have abs. Now she's like, look,
picture.
The bum. Look at the bum. Look how cute it is. I just tried to grab it. Sorry. Look at her.
Oh, I say that.
More Gains Fitness. Hey, where else is somebody saying to you, look, I don't care where you live. You can live in Alaska. You could be in Hawaii. I don't care. Kelly Morgan lives in Pennsylvania. And if you can't see her in Pennsylvania, go to More Gains Fitness, MORGAINZ. Scroll down to the 90 Ignite button, click it, read about it, sign up, and start your weight loss journey from the privacy of your home. 90 days. 90 days. She's going to give you your buns back. Right? That's More Gains Fitness. That was a packed day of fabulous sponsors. Thanks to all of them.
I haven't seen Sandra Smith in months.
You haven't? Why?
But I'm here.
Oh.
She's on at 1.
Oh.
1 to 3.
Oh.
Yeah.
So you're stuck looking at me.
So that's why you owe me.
I owe you. See, Sandra Smith would be better if they didn't put like the fake caterpillar eyelashes on her. Why do they do that?
Don't make me defend her.
You don't have to defend her. She's a beautiful woman. She's sort of like defending Christina Bobb, who Joe actively calls his girlfriend. He's like, yeah, I was texting my girlfriend earlier, and I was like, that's fantastic. That's fantastic. But he's got good taste.
You got to give me a Carl email or reach out to him. We could become buddies, hunt and fish together.
Mm-hmm.
I don't hunt, but I would.
Shit, you just want to smoke cigars and drink bourbon with him. Like, whatever.
I don't know if he does. He probably doesn't do that.
Really?
Well, he might not smoke cigars, but he'd probably have a beer.
Don't tell Carl what he would do and not do.
I'm just saying, we could chop wood together. He talks about chopping wood. I'll chop wood. I chop in wood.
We could chop wood together. All I would see you doing is pulling up your pants. Every time you'd swing, you'd go like this. And you'd swing and you'd go like, yes or no. Unless you had
I'm not laughing because it's true.
I'm just saying. I will say I have to go to the bathroom.
See, I can't hit Carl up on X.
What?
Because that's kind of creepy. You know, he knows who Wendy is, please. He knows who she is. You know, reaching out. Hey.
My producer has a man crush on you and wants to hook up. I'll say it like that.
No, because then he'll be like, I'll go up to Connecticut and they'll hand me a restraining order. And I'll be like, what's this for? Apparently you want to hook up with Carl? I'll be like, yeah, for a beer. They're like, no. We could have some beer, some dots. I could give him a Second
Carl,
Amendment commemorative gift.
It's Wendy. Yeah, my producer just loves you. He'd love to hang out. Hook up sometime with you. What do you think?
Tell him we can go to Pepe's.
He likes lumberjack stuff too.
Wow. I didn't say I like lumberjack.
He has flannel. Bell radio program. China. Marsha. You know, it's not surprising that they are the arch nemesis. I mean, if you think about it, think about what Joe Biden did. Okay. No, I have not fact checked that stat that I gave you earlier in the program. I admitted it that, you know, Joe Biden gave away half of the strategic petroleum reserves, which he drained down to 40%. Okay, he didn't. The guy didn't do anything. He didn't have ideas. He didn't have knowledge. He didn't have the capability. Okay? Out of the gates. Should we not demand extraordinarily intelligent leaders? Because I think so. And that would preclude Joe Biden out of the gates. Right? But remember what he did. He got paid off bigly by China. Remember CHFC? Remember his buddies? Remember the office that Hunter had to get with multiple keys? Oh, so his China partners could work with him. It's almost like, how about the phone call where he's like, look, my dad's sitting right next to me and he's not that happy with you right now. We expect more money. Wait a minute, that didn't happen. Yes, it did. Yes, it did. Everything that the left has tried to throw at this president, none of which has stuck, because it's all been garbage they have covered up and obfuscated for the clearly guilty Biden and Biden crime family syndicate, right? So is it any wonder that China is realizing, oh, snap. There's a new guy that we've got to deal with, and he doesn't like that we've bought all of the farmland. He doesn't like the Chinese spy balloon that we foisted upon the American people. What's that? Oh, I don't know. Looks like somebody, I don't know, they wandered away from Napa Valley in a hot air balloon. Yeah, up at 60,000 feet. Check, right? He's allowed China to infiltrate our education system. And if it's true what people who know more than I do about China say, that if the Chinese government okays your request for a visa, some kind of an educational reason, and you come to the United States as a Chinese citizen, you are expected always to report back to the mothership. So what you have is Chinese spies all over the place. Like, enough. And Trump is like, enough. We can work with you if you want, but I'm not so sure. I want to cripple you, and I'm showing you by showing you what we're doing with Iran. I mean business. I'm not mucking around. Peter Schweitzer, president. Schweizer. I always add an extra syllable or something in there. Schweitz. I think a T. It doesn't exist. Peter Schweizer, president of the Government Accountability Institute. He's on with Mark Levin last night. I'm not a Mark Levin fan, but this is a really good give and go, and you need to hear it.
I think one of the things.
This guy, Schweizer, who is an expert on U.S. relations with China and the geopolitical ramifications of said deals. He said, look, everything President Trump has done to secure America and her allies' interests have screwed China into such a monster corner. They've lost face as a world superpower more than they have lost access to oil. Listen.
I think one of the things that Donald Trump has been completely misunderstood about is what kind of a strategic thinker he is. They dismiss him as, he's impulsive, he gets angry, he loses attention. They underestimated Ronald Reagan as well, and he did very good. And I think what you're seeing from Donald Trump is a brilliant strategy, particularly as it relates to the Communist Chinese. Just think of what's unfolded in the matter of 58 days, Mark. First, they go in and take out Maduro, one of their top allies in the developing world. Now he goes in with Israel and attacks Iran, another key ally in the developing world. Both of them big energy suppliers. But the relationship is deeper than that. And listen, the reasons that the president gave for taking out Maduro and going after Iran are the legitimate reasons he went after them, the direct threats they represented to the United States. But these are also tight allies of the Chinese Communist Party. So what happens? You have this amazing operation in Venezuela. You have incredible operation unfolding right now in the Middle East. China's the big loser. They not only lose allies, but they lose face, because who had the intelligence systems that were supposed to help Maduro detect and attack? The Chinese. Who provided the air defense systems to the Iranians that were totally obliterated and didn't shoot down a single U.S. or Israeli aircraft? The Chinese. The problems mount.
The problems mount. Now let's think about Greenland. It's one of those things that we should have added to our list that has just disappeared from public consciousness, right? The president's overtures to buy or acquire or annex or whatever the case would be Greenland. Why? Strategically to screw China. China wants the shipping routes as much as anybody. And if Donald Trump owns the area, if it's under the golden dome of protection, since it's in our hemisphere, well, China, which also doesn't have any access anymore to the Panama Canal, which is a real kick in the stones, right? They're getting squeezed every which way. Peter Schweizer, number 2, he's like, look, in this whole shield of Americas, this whole hemisphere coming together, kumbaya, we're all in this together. That should scare the everlasting crap out of China. They don't want to see people all harmonious and homogenized with the United States, but that's what they're seeing. Listen.
And now I will add a third leg to the stool, Mark. Donald Trump recently announced this anti-cartel operation that's taking place in Latin America. Again, where do those threads lead? It leads to the Chinese Communist Party, because the drug cartels are partners with Chinese organized crime, which is a major element of the Chinese Communist Party. So the reasons he stated for these operations are real, but there are deeper issues at work, and I think it reflects really the first president since Reagan who has a grand strategy to deal with our main rival, which is Communist China.
Communist China, North Korea, Russia, all of our enemies and adversaries, they see what this president has done and what he's capable of. Do you think this would delay, if not prevent, the Communist Chinese, at least on Trump's watch for sure, from invading Taiwan?
100%. Just take the practical matter that China gets 40% to 50% of all of its oil goes through the Straits of Hormuz. Now, if China moved on Taiwan and Iran was still intact, you would have a problem, because Iran could make it very difficult for the United States to blockade oil from getting to China through the Straits of Hormuz. That's no longer an issue. So if China were to move on Taiwan now, Donald Trump, I have no doubt, would say, guess what? You're not getting a drop of oil. You're going to lose 50% of your oil supply overnight.
President Trump controlling the flow of the world's oil, not to the benefit of the American people, not so that we can grift off of it, but as leverage. Leverage. Why does he make deals? Why is he such a good deal maker? Because if you don't have anything that people want, they're not coming to your table. Can you imagine Joe Biden doing any of this? Right? They put that man out there for 4 years and lied to you for 4 freaking years. At the same time, they were punching down on President Trump, whose goal was simple: to make America great again. Peter Schweizer finishes with this. In summary, he says, look, Trump holds all the cards and he has all of the military muscle, and China's only play is to fold and to play nice.
They've also seen his willingness to use military capability, and they've seen the power of American military might. So it's a huge role reversal for the United States and China, and a big win for Trump.
I think they also see the incredible technological advances of the United States military and the firepower of the United States military. You know, there's a lot of talk about China having all this cutting-edge technology, but it really hasn't been tested. We're battle-tested. Our troops are battle-tested. Our commanders are battle-tested. And our commander-in-chief is battle-tested. Not so much China. Final thoughts.
You're exactly right. China sees what's unfolding, and they realize that despite all of the noise, they simply are not a match for the United States militarily. And you can see it in their complete inaction as these two key allies of theirs have been taken out in the matter of 60 days.
And if you want to broaden out even a little bit further, let's talk about the population decline in China. Right? They don't have a new generation of people coming through the ranks, having babies who will be the literal caretakers of that next generation. That's a huge problem, ladies and gentlemen. Population decline. China's population shrank by 3.39 million in 2025. People aren't getting together. They're not having children. When you don't have children and you have predominantly a large and aged population, many of whom are healthy as nuts, yes? Where does the money come from? Who's creating today's dollars to pay for all of those who've contributed in their lifetimes? China's in a squeeze, and Trump's got Xi by the huevos, and he's holding him right now, and he's just a little squeeze. He's like, no. I mean, I won't. I can. I will. I don't want to. But don't test me. It's curious. When we come back on the Wendy Bell radio program, before we leave, remember, this is where we are. So what do you do to help out? How can you be a part of this next big thing? Let's talk about it next on the Wendy Bell Radio Network. Oops.
Someone threw money at you.
Duh. Who wouldn't throw money at me? I am so freaking worth it. It's not even funny. Hey, we ended up 6 yesterday.
Sunny JJ05, $20.
Well, that was nice.
Here's Carl Higbee address in New York. Newsmax in New York.
I think I can get better.
Love his show, and also yours and Wendy's, Joellen Jones.
Thanks, Joellen. That was really cute. Somebody out there has his digits. Let's see.
It makes it sound creepy. I don't want to be creepy.
It is kind of a weird pickle to be a man who is very fond of another man.
I love his show.
Yeah. I'm very
I love his
fond,
show.
I'm very fond of your service, of your patriotism, of your might, of your strength, of your perspective, of your values, and I enjoy how you wrap it all together on television.
And he just seems like a good dude.
Which sounds like, how you doing?
Yeah, he just seems like a good dude.
See, women can get away with murder. We
That's-
can be like, how you doing, other women, and people are like, ha ha ha. But if a guy does it, they're like,
And that's why a woman could reach out
oh,
and be
I
like,
love how I'm your like dirty whatever.
Let's type the email now. Hey, Carl, it's Wendy. You know, I've been on the show many times with you. I don't know if you remember, my producer is a big fan of the show.
Why would he remember that?
Is going to be up because he knows who you are.
But how would he know who you are?
That's what I'm saying. My producer is a big fan of your show and wants to give you Second Amendment commemorative gifts. Wanted to know if he could meet you somewhere because we can't mail them to.
You know what? How creepy does that sound in general, though? Because how many people have been like, oh, I'll see you. I'll meet Wendy and you out for a drink and we'll talk about it. And you're like, okay, you don't know how to get in touch with me. So you're most assuredly not doing that. Right? So what you're asking me to do is to be the creeper person that.
Right.
Right. So it takes you out of the fray. So you think Carl
I'll
will
even
be...
pick up the lunch tab. You took Sandy away from me.
I took Sandy away from you? What are you talking about?
I used to spend the afternoons with Sandy.
Oh, and then I changed times for your benefit. So maybe you wouldn't have another seizure and hurt yourself or something. Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry. What?
Right. Carl, if you're watching.
He's not watching.
You don't know that?
I know that. Hi, Carl.
Oh, he's not watching. I come bearing gifts.
I don't know. I love Carl, but I'm going to tell you. It's all about Finnerty for me.
We'll see that you can be creepy like that. I don't need to meet Finnerty.
Hey, I've called these people my boyfriend multiple times in my tweets, and they've never once responded. So
because you're creepy. They're like, this lady's probably creepy.
Oh, please. Whatever. You just talked out of your rear end.
Wow.
Typical man.
Speaking of.
I'm going to put you in that jar with the other ants and I'm going to shake you up a little bit. Now, this is a full circling. This is the ultimate Jen Psaki of going full circle back to the beginning. I think this is just one of those great headlines and ensuing stories. It just makes you feel like, yeah, you do have a voice and you do have a purpose and you do have a mission and you do matter and your vote does matter and what you think matters. And it's time for you to go put your flag in the sand. Okay. Headline Gateway pundit, Rhino leader John Thune stabs Trump in the back again, refuses to nuke the filibuster to pass the Save America Act. That's not going to happen, he says. I just wanted to leave you with this so you realize, as I do, what we're up against. It's not just the deep state. It's the people on the right who are part of the deep state who want you to believe that they're not, but show you every day who they are. In yet another blatant betrayal of President Donald Trump and the America First agenda, Senate Majority Leader John Thune has once again shown his true rhino colors by flatly refusing to make any changes to Senate rules that would allow the critical Save America Act to pass. Now, is this strategy? Is this Trump and Thune playing? Is this them working together? Is this them flushing out people by this adamance against putting this on the Senate floor? I don't know. Pressure comes as Trump ramps up pressure on the GOP establishment to secure our elections before the midterms. But Thune is more interested in protecting the swamp than fighting for the American people. Yeah, that's not going to happen, Thune said Monday when pressed by ABC News about altering the Senate's 60-vote threshold to advance legislation. The stonewalling directly undermines Trump's urgent calls to pass the Save America Act, which would crack down on voter fraud and ensure only American citizens vote in our elections. Look, Democrats and the deep state want this to drag out as long as possible. The closer you get to the first week of November to the midterms, the better your chances of being like, but there's just no way for us to change everything now right before the elections. Let's just get through the midterms and then we'll figure it out. Right. Hey, Thune, Senator, are you in on it? Right? Because Trump seems to like you. I'm kind of baffled by this. Mark Wayne Mullen, who I don't know, not sold on. He likes you too. I don't trust you and your South Dakota charming, good old boy thing, right? Oh, I'm a country guy. No, you're in the nation's capital with a big job and we expect you to get it done. Do you understand that? Right? See, this isn't an echo chamber thing. This isn't some ecosystem. This is the majority. This is the plurality. This is the people who voted. The plurality that voted and got Donald Trump across the finish line in 2016. The same that did it in landslide fashion in 2020, which required you to cheat all night long and in some states for weeks, right? And for everybody to watch. Those same people then came out again in 2024. This isn't some echo chamber, ecosystem, fringe group of people who are just trying to get clicks. These are people who showed up at the freaking ellipse that day, sir. These are the people who walked over to the Capitol on that January 6th, and it was freezing, and it was miserable, but they cared about this country. And they believed that their elected representatives would do the right thing, the thing that they were constitutionally obligated to do, which was to listen to their constituents. That was their job, John. Now this is yours. I don't know what you and Trump are doing, but I'm getting kind of annoyed by the theatrics of it all. It is not complicated. They do this in Afghanistan, sir. Voter identification. And you know what they have at the end of the vote? The end of the ballot, the end of election day? They've got winners, John. I'm not interested in you saying what you couldn't do, what's not going to happen. Because the old guard and the old school way of getting along with the other people and then all going home, kumbaya friends, that's not how we feel. We're done being lied to. We're done being infected. We're done being injected. We're done being harassed. We're done being ridiculed. We're done being canceled. We're done being all of it. You, Senator Thune, work for us. In fact, you work for me in this iteration right now. And I demand, since you really only work 70 days a year, I'm going to say that you should get your hiney into the Capitol with all the other people and get it across the finish line. Okay? John? Time to think, ladies and gentlemen. What can you do? What can you do? You have gifts and talents. Time for you to shine. Love being with you. Thank you for that. Come on back tomorrow. Hump Day. Peace.